Hello, everyone. I'm Captain Logan, and joining me as always is Austin the Day Ghost. Austin, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited. I feel like we've been waiting to do this forever.
No, this was something that I was gonna do a bit earlier, and then just things kept coming up, so it kept getting pushed off. But I finally had a free minute, and I put this all together.
Well, I really appreciate you finally getting the slideshow together. I don't know if I would have even had a great time until this week to finally do a stream on it too. So it's kind of the both
hmm
of us. We've got a couple things like this that we've been trying to get in the pipeline, getting back to these like off the cuff rewind streams, and this one we've been waiting for forever because it took us a long time to do our own personal top 100 favorite superhero movies, and we did this with a just for folks that weren't around to see this. The genesis of this goes back like a year or more now. We're probably probably at least a year, where I found an article about a I forget what the website even was. Was it Screen Rant? I forget.
Yes, I think it was Screen Rant.
That was like a community top 50 DC and Marvel characters, and I did a reaction stream seeing what characters people thought were the greatest of both, and then I ended up doing my own personal of those, and then I opened it up to the community, and we got like 6-8 streams out of that whole thing, and we did we did a community poll to see what people's favorite DC and Marvel characters were, and people enjoyed that so much. I got so much positive feedback about that I decided to do it with superhero movies, and I said let's go crazy, because I've been reviewing superhero movies for 16 years here on Geekvolution now. It's like, why don't we do a personal 100 favorite? And I brought Austin in because he's been doing the rewind show with me, and we did our personal 100 superhero movies, talked about them probably too much at length, and then open it up to the community. The community was asked, each person give us your 50 favorite superhero movies, and if we get enough responses, we'll be able to turn that into a 100. We didn't want to ask people to have to throw in a whole 100, but we got enough responses that it was easy. Austin told me to make a top 100 out of that, and we're going to count as many of those down tonight as we can. Now, Austin, how many responses did you get?
Just over 70. So there was more people that responded to this than the top 50 for either Marvel and DC, which was cool to see.
Yeah, that's great. The average for that was 50, I think.
Yeah, I think it was like just over 50. It was like 53, 55, I think, between them.
That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No, so
really,
there's a lot more on this one. It was, like I said, it was very easy to put together like a top 100.
and I imagine just as much variety probably as you got with the character lists.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe more so. Maybe more
Yeah.
variety.
And one thing, because people asked about it last time, and I wasn't even thinking. First of all, I'll say too, I remembered it was a CBR, Comic Book
Oh, that's
Resources
what it was.
article, I
Okay,
think.
thank you. It's been so
But
long I
for
couldn't remember.
theirs, yeah, for theirs, they put like, okay, this is how many people voted number one for each thing, and I didn't do that for ours, and people asked about it, so I put it on for this one, and it's kind of interesting. You'll see here there are movies that I think get prodded up a little bit because there's like three or four people that really like it. Enough to put it that way, and I mean you'll see it when we get into it, but definitely like a mix of opinions.
That makes a lot of sense. Full disclosure, my and Austin's votes also count in this. Just to be consistent
Mhm.
with the superhero, or sorry, the DC Marvel character list. We did the same thing with that. And Jason's list is in here as well. And he's not revealed his top 50 yet. We may do a separate stream and count that down too, like we did with, because I think we did that with his characters too, right?
Yeah, it was the three of us.
Oh,
Yeah, I actually didn't see his email in there, so I wasn't sure. But I wasn't really paying too close attention by the end.
well, hopefully he sent it. He told me he did.
Oh no, I'm sure he did. But we can go through his.
We might as well milk this for all it's worth. And then, not too long from now, we're going to open up another one of these for the. So we're gonna do another poll, let you guys turn in your 50 least favorite superhero movies, and we're going to do a count for that as well. Although we're going to just do 50 and not 100 for that. The more, though, Austin, that I have thought about that list, I think I'm going to have a hard time narrowing it down to 50.
I mean, I can probably like squeeze it out to 100 if I tried.
I don't think we'll do that. I think it'll just be 50. But anyway, without further ado, let's
Maybe
go ahead and
like
get into
75.
it. So Austin made us another, I'm sure, delightful slideshow. As always, I have not looked at this at all. I have no idea what's coming up. I just got the file minutes ago, and you'll just have to take my word for it, but I have not looked through this at all.
When
and
I also pad out the beginning so that you can't see any of the movies,
that's
like
very nice
at
of
the
you.
start. I always make sure there's at least 5 slides before you get to one of the things.
So here we go. Superhero Everyone Unscripted presents the top 100 superhero films. Once again, thanks for taking the time to put this together, Austin. And I'm sure this one, took you a little longer because it's so many more.
Well, so one thing that's kind of annoying, and this isn't me complaining about doing this, but just with how the Excel sheet is done, let's say if there's a tie, let's say okay, you have like number 98 is a tie. There won't be a number 99, but I won't know that because I'm counting down. So every time you get a tie, I then have to like go back and re-edit the numbers, and that was kind of annoying.
Okay,
but
that's a little obnoxious. Is that you saying you'll never do this again? Is that what you're saying? I gotta find somebody else.
No, I'll still do it. I'll still do it. It was still a good enough time.
So what you're saying is you'll do it, but you're not gonna promise not to complain about it.
What I'm saying is there better not be any damn ties next time.
All right, here we go. Sorry, I'm gonna look at the comments real quick before we get into this. Because it was something I was gonna read. Woodgrain Beanie, been waiting patiently for this one. Looking forward to all of the streams for it. All the streams. We're gonna try not to go 15 streams for this one. I'd like to try to do it in 2. Maybe we'll end up rushing quick enough we can even do it in 1. But I shouldn't say that. That's not likely. But I'd like to keep it to 2 if we can. Are you ready, sir?
Yep, I'm good.
It's time again. Okay, so I gotta figure out where to put our boxes.
Oh yeah, that might be tough.
Can read these. You know what? I might just take us out of this, so that people can see the whole slides. That was a good sentence.
The whole slides.
The whole slides. I was proud of that sentence. Give me a second. Let me. I'll just take us out of this, and then I'll jump back and forth where occasionally we'll be on camera. Okay, it's terror time again. Here we go again. What is that movie from? What is that movie?
What? It's terror time again?
No,
that's
Here we go again. Just
okay. Here we go. Oh, that's
what
GTA San Andreas.
Oh, it's not even a movie. Okay, I couldn't tell what I was looking at. Make your guess and check the scores. They're very close. Are they? Are they very, very close?
They are very close.
Cool.
You'll see there are certain things that shoot off, like where there'll be gaps, but there's a lot of things that are very close.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, with our audience, it's hard to make any really clear guesses. I'm sure Batman movies, the perceived good ones will be real high. I think Rises will be on this list. I will say that. I think. Sorry, I haven't really thought much about this, but I want to try to make a couple predictions real quick at the risk of padding this out.
No, that's fine.
I think some movies that I really dislike will be here, and I think some MCU movies I don't like will be. I think Ragnarok will be on this list. I mean, there's kind of no way around it. And if this was going to be consistent with the community top 50 for Marvel, a Hulk movie should be real high. Because our audience apparently is obsessed with the Hulk, and we never knew it until recently.
Yeah, for sure.
I think some of my top 10 is likely to be real high, of course. I mean, I say that, like, we had some pretty major obvious movies way up there, but, like, not everybody's communities would be super high with Ninja Turtles. I think ours will. I think 1990 Ninja Turtles has a real good chance at cracking the top 10. And I can't ask your predictions because you put this together.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see if there's any shockers, like major movies that like beloved things that you would think would be top 10, top 15 that end up at like the 30s or something. Like, is it possible, for instance, Richard Donner Superman is like 32 when it was like the third or fourth on mine? I don't know. Like, yeah, I think anything is possible.
Third or fourth didn't even make your top 10.
Oh, it didn't, did it? I think I was thinking Superman 2, I guess. Yeah, that's right. Well, see, I had such a good watch with it when we did the rewind recently that it would be in a different place for me at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess that's something I'll throw out too. Is
Yeah.
there are people who specified cuts, but I did not separate cuts.
I don't think you can.
With this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did. So you have to put Superman 2. You have to put the Donner cut together with it, which skews that a little bit, but I think you have to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Snyder Cut and Justice League are the same.
I think Civil War will be very, very high. Makura says Batman Returns sweep. Let's go. That's liable with this audience to be very high. Okay, I'm excited. Here we go.
I know. I gotta bite my tongue. I can't say. I can't give any signs.
I want to keep doing this now. I want to just keep making guesses. All right. Before we begin, this time let's start with honorable. Oh, we're gonna start with the honorable mentions. Fascinating. Cool.
Yeah, I thought because they're things that you probably wouldn't expect anyways. I was like, I'll just slap it on at the beginning this time.
Yeah, that's going to make this even more interesting when there's anything here that should be in the top 100. All right, here we go. Honorable mentions. Batman Hush got 34 points. What? I mean, that movie doesn't suck as much as the rest of that line, but wow. 107, three-way tie between The Shadow, Brightburn. Brightburn should not have gotten that close to cracking the top 100.
Brightburn tied with the Powerpuff Girls movie. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel like not enough people have seen the Powerpuff Girls movie. I think that's what that means. And The Shadow was a better movie than that. It was in both of our top 100. That's nonsense. 106 Green Lantern, Emerald Knights. I've still not seen that. So I've got no dog there. 1990 Captain America is maybe the most shocking thing we'll see in this entire list. Just that even
I was really shocked anyone voted for that. I'm not gonna lie.
Points. Was that two people that had it in their top 5 because they're just that big Captain America nuts?
Yeah, I mean, some of these, like I think you were the only person who put Powerpuff Girls. I think one person put Brightburn. Once you hit Captain America 1990, that's on more than one person's list.
Oh, is that why? It's because I gave it too many points and nobody else picked it. That's why. Okay.
Which you'll only see for like those few in the honorable mentions. After that, that
just means people haven't seen that movie. That's all that means. 104, that's what I'm going to say. 104 is a tie between the Lone Ranger and the Scarlet Pimpernel. Well, all right. That means you gave the Lone Ranger all of those points.
No, one person voted for Scarlet Pimpernel, but other people voted for the Lone Ranger.
Right, but you gave it an absurd number of points, and other people gave it like 4 points.
2 points, yeah.
2 points.
0 ratings.
Do you want to just real briefly remind people how the point system works?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of obvious, but in case you don't know.
Yeah, so if something was voted for number 1, it gets 50 points, 2, 49, 3, 48, and so forth.
And so forth and so on. 103 Shin Kamen Rider, which is hilarious because you really did not like that, and I thought it was fine. Birds of Prey, whoever that was, is going to get blocked from the channel. I need you to send me that username so that I know that they're not allowed to watch the channel anymore. If it's more than one person, I'm taking them all out. Incredibles 2 is not great, but it's better than Birds of Prey. And Constantine, that's a better movie than that.
Yeah,
that ain't
it
right.
is.
102, The Matrix, which we don't include on the list, so people are cheating by not using our list. And Teen Titans in Tokyo, which I've not seen. But
yeah,
that's
actually maybe saw it at the time.
That's really well liked. Sure. That's the movie based on that cartoon show. And
yeah, it's like the big finale movie, I think, or like after the finale.
I would not have been surprised if that cracked the top 100. Actually, having not seen it.
People love Teen Titans.
And 101 is Sherlock Holmes. I'm going to assume you gave it all those points.
No, I couldn't even give 51 points. I think I probably gave it like 20.
You cheated. You gave it 51 points. Robert, I'm a bit surprised The Matrix and Constantine didn't crack the top 100. I'm not with The Matrix because it's not typically considered a superhero movie. And
yeah, that's what I had.
And we tried to. Sorry, Austin. I don't mean to keep interrupting you, dude.
No, it's okay.
I'm not seeing your face when I'm looking at this. But anyway, we tried to keep people on the rails with the rules of use our list, but folks aren't necessarily going to follow the rules.
Well, the fact that I broke them probably gave, people more assurance to do it.
You got to set a better example, Austin. That's all I'm saying. Bob the Hunt, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Is Birth of a Nation eligible for Superhero Rewind? People are saying it's a superhero movie. It did not make my list. I don't know why people would say that.
But you specified it did not make.
It did not make. No. It is not on the Superhero Rewind list. Okay, let's move on. Thank you for the super chat. All right, here we go. So 100. We get right into it here. Split and the losers tied. So are we going to see a lot of these ties? Or are we going to look at like 110, 115 movies here?
There's quite a few ties. I also realized I think I messed up the score because that was what Sherlock Holmes was, and they were not tied. So it's probably 52, I guess. I probably just typo.
Oh, that's all right. Okay, so I don't want this entire stream to just be, hey, wait a minute, does that count? But is the losers on our list?
I think the losers is. I think we debated about it on when we decided what the list would be, and I think we just kind of settled on like it's like it kind of gets in under like that Sin City kind of thing is what we fell on.
That's
what
I don't remember. Gonna say is if we're counting Sin City, which we probably shouldn't, but I did a rewind on it years ago, so I threw it in there. That ends up being a really arbitrary kind of line. Anyway, have you ever seen that?
The Losers? Yeah, like back when it came out. I've been meaning to rewatch it for a while, but
I don't think I've ever seen that. I always mix it up.
I picked up the comic for Christmas, so I want to reread. Like I want to read it before I rewatch it.
I always mix it up with Red, and I have seen Red, but I've not seen The Losers.
And for whatever reason, I don't think Red made our list, so it's all arbitrary. Who cares?
Split was on my top 100. It was pretty low, I think. So I'm glad to see it here. 99 is No Damn Punisher Cops. Austin with his tirade against the Punisher Cops. So 04 Punisher cracks the list. Was not on mine. I think it did make yours.
I can't remember if it made mine. If it did, it's low, or it's either low on it or it just didn't make it. I don't remember.
Robert, I didn't vote for Split, but I did vote for Unbreakable. Shocked if that isn't on here since Split cracked the top one. Well, wait until you see the next slide, folks.
This is the big one I was waiting for.
So this is a bunch of nonsense, and Obama agrees with me.
Yeah, he's like, what?
71 points for Glass, that's the perfect face too. It's Split got. I can't even talk now. This is so ridiculous. Split got 100, and Glass beat it by 2 points on the list. I mean, and I don't even see how that's possible. Now, even if you thought that movie was okay, is there anybody on the planet that likes it more than Split? I don't understand that. Like, apparently. I know people that think Glass is okay. I no longer associate with those people, but I'm sorry, we can't be friends, but I don't know how you watch that third act and don't laugh all the way through it. Frankly, I don't know how you take one frame of that movie seriously. But anyway, that's nuts. And I'm very distracted by that slide. It's wonderful. All right, moving right along. This is ridiculous.
That was the big one. I was like, Cap's going to lose it when he gets the Glass over Split.
And that means that more than one person gave it a decent amount of points. I don't have to block people. They'll just unsubscribe after I've insulted them for liking Glass. But No, I'm just kidding. I mean, obviously, like what you like, but I don't understand that. I think Glasses was an abysmal failure. That was hard to watch. If I wasn't reviewing it, I would have gotten up and left. I was in the middle of a scripted rewind for Split, and I didn't finish it before I went to the theater. So I don't have a scripted rewind for Split. I wrote 4 pages of it, Austin, and that broke me to the point where I couldn't finish the Glass rewind. I never finished it.
You're like, that's it, we're done.
That's how much
This
I hated
movie's so
that.
much better. I can't review Split.
97 X3. Okay. X3 has a good chance of being on my worst 50 list.
Wow, really? Okay. X3 probably falls between lists for me.
It has a
But
chance. I go back and forth with how mad I am at it, and I'm less. I mean, I say that I don't have the opinion, like the deep like hatred of it that I once did, because Days of Future Past, helped a lot, and we got decent X-Men movies after it, and we didn't know if
there's
that
just
was
so many worse X-Men movies
at this
that have
point.
happened since.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
So maybe it won't make that either, but I don't see it cracking the 100. But at least it's not real high.
That is true.
All right, moving along. There are people in the comments that are shaking their head harder than I am right now. Number 96, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. That's all right. I don't have a problem with that. I know
Yeah, I was happy it made the list.
that was on your list. Scraping at the door.
Oh, you're a bad man.
I like it. I like it better than the Mark Steven Johnson movie.
No, same here.
Okay,
It's
number
a good time.
95, Iron Man 2, 80 points. The movie that for the longest time a lot of people considered the only MCU dud still cracks the list. And you know what, though, I understand that. Did it make yours? I think it was actually on yours.
Yes, I think it and Spider-Man 3 were like back to back, where it's like, yeah, these sequels aren't great, but like I still get enjoyment out of them.
So that's a movie that at the end of the day doesn't really hold together and work to me, but it is entertaining. And that is a thing that I can't say about now some of the worse MCU movies. Because we're in a place now where there are several things that I would put beneath Iron Man 2. Would not put it on a top 100 list, but there are scenes that where I feel like it almost deserves it. Because I'll never stop laughing at he can't get his head in that. It's so good.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell's great in that movie.
He's so good in it. All right, moving right. Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Who did this? Who did this? The Flash is at 94. The Flash easily cracks my top 50 worst list, I think. I haven't made my list yet. I'm sure that will happen. That was just embarrassing.
It's rough.
There's a couple performances in it that I was surprised by and thought were all right, but I don't know how this cracks the list. I know we've got at least a couple of viewers that think that Michael Keaton just saves the day. Like, just even having him back as Batman puts it high on. I don't understand that. And I've talked at length about why that movie sucks. In my mind, in my mind. But if that was a big deal kind of reunion thing for you, I guess I get it. It still bugs me that wasn't. And the chips just fell where they did, Austin. It's still ridiculous to me that wasn't DCEU's last movie.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it should be. But I do really like, though, that the DCEU actually went out on Jason Momoa doing a parody of the I Am Iron Man thing, and then just Ocean Master eating a bug. That's such a perfect metaphor for the DCEU.
Okay, great. The Flash sucks. Holy. Yes, the top 100 movie, The Flash. Matthew Bass. Okay, who's responsible for this? And Robert says The Flash beating Iron Man 2 is a travesty.
I mean, it actually
that's pretty rough. I mean, I don't think The Flash should beat. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have it anywhere near here, obviously. I don't think The Flash should beat Split. The only thing that
Punisher.
I think it might be okay that it's beating is Glass. Maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe. All right, moving right along. I appreciate your shadow there. That's wonderful.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
93, Punisher Warzone, 86 points. That was on your list. I liked
Yep.
it a lot better when we did the rewind commentary on it, and it very nearly cracked my list at like a 99 or 100. So
Mhm.
that is a perfectly reasonable pick, I think.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean it's a great movie, and I also tried to pick cool posters for all of them. So that's why you'll see, there's like a I think Chinese or Japanese poster for the Flash. Some of them there's just no good posters, but I tried to pick cool ones at least.
I thought you were intentionally picking like weird ones.
No, I was like, oh, this is kind of neat, I guess.
Yeah,
Better
I
than
like some of
like
the
the
Japanese ones.
yeah,
The Warzone poster's awesome.
yeah. I was like, that one's really cool.
I've never seen that. Like that is so flippin'
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, no, and someone said the X3 poster I picked was a fan made one. It's hard to tell because I was just using Google, so
You know
there's a
what?
chance that I picked them by
If they're
accident.
good enough for this anyway, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a picture of the movie that we're talking about. It can be a fan made thing. It's fine. This is a
Yeah.
very laid back kind of stream.
Mhm.
I I'm very interested to know who else gave this a lot of points. Now, this was ridiculously high on your list, which I'll never
But I
understand.
was happy. I was happy though that other people voted for it.
But I'm really surprised that other people even know about this.
Mhm.
So next up is Dr. Mordred, which
And tied with
is
Eternals, which
oh,
is weird.
Tied with Eternals. Yeah, my brain fritzed out for a second because I saw Dr. Mordred, but then I saw D-Box, and I was like, when was Dr. Mordred ever in D-Box?
Oh, no, that movie invented D-Box, don't you know?
Eternals making it to uh, 92 on the list is not crazy talk to me. Like I liked it well enough when I saw it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where just like two or three people really liked it,
Sure.
and
Well,
that like
I'm
bumped
sure
it up
that's
a little higher.
also the case with Dr. Mordred.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
So that is an early 90s movie starring Jeffrey Combs, which was supposed to be a Doctor Strange movie, and they could not procure the license. So that would have been like a Captain America 1990 or a Punisher in 1989. Like, it would have been in that milieu. And it basically is... but they had to strip all the names and things out, and he's basically wearing a Doctor Strange costume, but it's just all blue, which is funny.
Mhm.
But we are actually doing a commentary and review of that movie this coming Friday. That's next on the docket, and I just finished watching it today.
Oh hell yeah! I'm so excited to rewatch that.
It's so strange. It's a very odd
Doctor
piece.
even.
I didn't remember how TV-ish it is. Like, it watches like a TV pilot.
Hmm. No, I mean that's fair.
It would have been a lot better as a show. Like, it's actually kind of too
Mhm.
bad that wasn't a pilot that got picked up. And it's the exact length of a 2-hour pilot. The only thing that makes me think it wasn't intended to be a pilot is that it's laden with F-bombs. You
Mhm.
take that out of it,
That could have been an HBO show.
it could have, but it wouldn't have been... Sorry, I'm getting in the weeds now. It wouldn't have been an hour and a half. HBO wouldn't have had commercials. So, like, it would have to be broadcast for the length it is.
Mhm. That's true.
That's what's so weird about it. And they're all TV actors.
Hmm. Oh, it's awesome.
It's got evil Big Mouth Man who's in everything. I love that guy. I never remember his name. We'll talk about that on Friday. Okay, next up is... It's so strange that it got 94 points, though. It's amazing.
I expected it to be higher, though. Oh, sorry, for Dr. Mordred.
For Dr.
Yeah.
Mordred, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up is BVS, which, yeah, you can't color me shocked with this. Like,
No, I expected it to be higher. I'm honestly surprised it's low.
a lot of our audience feels the way we do about it, and a lot of our audience doesn't. I would have thought more of, what'd you say, 70 or 75 votes?
Yeah, I would have said probably about that high.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying, like how many people did you say put in polls?
Oh, yeah, like 70
Like
something.
I would have thought out of that many, you would have had at least 4 or 5 that I hiked it up real hard to get it higher on the list,
Mhm.
where it would have been like 4 or 5 on their list. 99 points is actually really kind of surprising.
No, no, I thought you said like 70 something on the list, and I would have expected about that, like maybe into the
No, I was
60s.
not communicating real well.
No, no, it's fine. I just didn't get what you were saying.
That GIF is awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
In fact, if I had been you, I would have tried to put Warner Brothers GIFs in everything that had to do with DC, just to give Zaslav the finger as much as possible.
Well, there was a specific Tiny Toons thing you mentioned to me, and I found a GIF of it, and it wouldn't load, and I was so mad.
Oh, that
Uh,
sucks. Tiny
yeah.
Toons has the best DC parodies, man.
hmm
It's so good because that was Paul Dini right before animated series, and
Yeah.
his fingerprints are all over it, and it's awesome. In fact, I if it was streaming somewhere, I would say we should do a mini marathon of the Tiny Toons episodes that deal with Batman. I think that would be such a fun stream, but there's not any good way to watch it if you don't own it. The nice thing is though, the discs, at least for season one, have gotten a lot cheaper, and I just bought that recently. I can't get the rest of it right now, but season one gives you 65 episodes, and a lot of the best stuff is in that first season. So I'm pr-
Let's see
I'm
something.
pretty happy having that now, and my kids are loving it. They're just glued to it.
That's great.
Anyway, BVS shows up. We use that as a chance to talk about Tiny Toons.
But anything else?
That BVS poster is awesome, though.
Yeah, it is really cool.
That's really neat. Jason asked me today if BVS was going to crack my top 50. Actually, he thought it would be. I'm not going to reveal that yet, but he thought it would be in my top 10. And I said, it's too. He was like, you wrote about it for 5 hours. And I was like, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Is like, it's too interesting to hate it enough to put it that high, I think. Now, I haven't made the list yet, but I really don't think it'll be that high. And also because I walked out of the theater not being sure what I thought of it. And I think everything in the top 10 should be things that I wanted to walk away from as I was watching it. I think that's a prerequisite for top 10.
Well, I feel like BVS makes my like top three, top five DCU films because it's at least interestingly bad. Where it's like a lot of the other ones, I'm more bored by.
Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you. Okay, moving right along. 90 is Spider-Man Far From Home. Mysterio is pleased. That's really funny. Far From Home, I've really kind of turned on, as I've talked about a lot. Like, I like it less and less every time I see it, but I can't argue with the Mysterio reveal is great, and that actor was a wonderful choice, and there's great stuff in it. I'm not gonna begrudge 90 for Far
No, it's
for
more of like
Far
a
From
mixed
Home.
bag.
It is. Nicholas Bodo, that movie was why Cap won't make scripted videos anymore. I actually walked out of it in the theater. I'm not gonna say you're 100% wrong about that, but no, not really. It's there's a lot of factors with that, but uh, anyway, I am glad that's one of the last of those I did though, just because it's so ridiculous.
Mhm.
That's a duck, man. 89. Howard the dog, and our,
I
our
was so
audience.
happy.
Our audience may be the only audience that would get this movie on a top 100, much less this high. Another one of those movies that is. I don't know if I can say it's been reappraised that hard so much as just I think people are less mad at it because there's a lot of good superhero movies now, and because it's just weird and fun 80s things or like weird 80s things people
Mhm.
really enjoy. So I guess what I
Well,
mean
when I
is
started
I think
my
it's been reappraised and people will watch it now. But I don't think it's. I
mhm.
don't think a lot of people would call it a good movie. I think it's just no. It's actually fun. It's like a fun bad, kind of thing.
Mhm. Well, when I started my top 50 list, like for worst, I was looking at, different lists, and it was like every single one was like number one, Howard the Duck, number two, Batman and Robin. And I'm like, uh, still?
That only made sense in 1995.
Mhm.
Well, no, actually, Batman and Robin didn't exist in 90. That only made
Didn't even,
sense in the
but
year two.
it was still number two.
That only made sense in the year 2000. Yes, I did. I get Howard the Duck on my top 100. I don't think I
I
did.
don't think you did. I think it was just me.
If I had,
And
it would
I'm
have been
still like disappointed with myself at how low I put it.
yeah, because you could have gotten it to 84, 85 if you'd given it more points.
Hmm.
I am excited
Exactly.
for us to finally do that though,
Hmm. No, same. I love that movie.
because that's one of those things where I've got two minds about it. Where I can talk all day about why that thing is an absolute narrative mess, but I can't
Hmm.
deny the like 101 things that I'm pointing at, laughing and going that this is so much fun. Like I love That's a Duck, man. It's
Hmm.
you know what's
Leah
great?
Thompson still wants to make a sequel. Make it happen, Marvel.
Oh man, I could see him showing up in Secret Wars, like that version.
That version? Uh, yeah, maybe.
That could happen.
Hmm. It's probably just for a joke, and then he'll die immediately, and it'll just make me sad. But,
Leah Thompson shows up as that character, and nobody has any idea who she's supposed to be. Like, why is Leah Thompson in this?
mm.
Why is Back to the Future part of the MCU now? I don't know. I don't understand.
She plays a rock song and hangs out with Star Lord. I would love that.
They should get the band from the Christmas special to play the song from the end of that movie. That would be killer.
That would be great.
What is that? The old
Old
97s?
97s?
Yeah. I don't know why I
Mm.
remember
That'd
that.
be wonderful.
But anyway, I can't wait for us to do that movie.
Mm.
88 is Shazam. Now I want to know how many people, and again, no disrespect to anybody, I'm wondering how many people gave that as many points as they did and haven't gone back to it. Because I just had like a not great experience with it when I finally went back and watched it. Like I was in the camp where like, yeah, that was fun. DCU is finally turning things around. And the last time I watched it, I was like, I watched it right before Shazam 2 came out, and I was like, this isn't holding up after even 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I wonder, especially because a lot of the complaints I heard about two, I was like, oh, I don't know, I had that with the first one. So I wonder if there's a lot of that.
Well, and everything's a matter of degree and perspective, right? So
Mhm. Of course.
you're measuring it against everything that's happening right then, and DCEU was so nonsensical but also just like stolid and lifeless and humorless
Mhm.
that you finally got the antithesis of that with Shazam. And
Mhm.
relative, I guess that's what I was trying to say, is everything's relative, that compared to the other stuff they were putting out, it's a lot closer to what people wanted. And I
Mhm.
think it was important for its box office that it was so much closer to MCU right then, because Shazam has
Mhm.
there's a lot to compare it to Ant-Man.
That is true.
Anyway, sorry, now I'm just talking about these things again. Did that surprise you?
No, that was about what I expected. Maybe I thought it would be a little bit higher, but
Okay, 87 is a movie that does
oh
not
yeah.
count on my list. But I get why Austin has been cheating with the Transformers movies. I wonder how many people gave that points after they saw that you were counting it. Like I really wonder if Transformers even gets on people's radar if they don't watch our streams and you go, Transformers for me counts as a superhero movie. Or do you think
I
other
think that
people
has to be it
or do you think other people
because
think of it that way and still would have done that?
I think it has to be that just because I don't think we had any submissions when we started. So like people would have had to have seen that I made a case for it before anyone voted.
Yeah, I kind of wish retroactively you had come out and said, "Okay, just so you know, I'm doing Transformers movies," because I would have included it,
Hmm.
even though
I think I was worried I would get too much pushback, and then I was like, I'm gonna do it anyways, though.
you thought I was going to convince you to take them off.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, but I don't know.
Okay, next up, number 86, and that's a good placement.
Mm.
Is another tie. Scott Pilgrim and Captain Invincible. That is a really interesting pair of movies, is it not?
Yeah, it's a very interesting pair.
They're both relatively obscure. Scott Pilgrim a lot less so, of
Hmm.
course, but they're both like indie, not related to big two comic book
They call
things.
classics.
One of them is based on a comic, and the other one is not. You're right. They're both cult classics, absolutely.
Mm.
They've both got a lot to do with music.
That's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's comparisons to be made there. That's great. Uh,
Hmm.
and I love. I'm so ridiculously partial to Captain Invincible. They're probably technically on the same level, just as quality wise. Like Scott Pilgrim's a really good movie.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen it since it came out. I should give that a rewatch.
I haven't seen it in a good long time. I've watched it 2 or 3 times total, I think,
Hmm.
and I've never read any of the comics.
No, same here.
Okay, moving right along. Number 85 is another tie
Yeah,
with
another tie.
Batman and Robin and Mystery Men, which came out really close together too. That's weird. Like these both late
Mhm.
'90s things.
Yeah, no, and Mystery Men's like a parody of Schumacher Batman, so it's kind of funny that they came up together.
I'm not surprised that our audience put Batman and Robin that high. I know we've got some people that ironically enjoy that to the point where they would put it there. Um, didn't make my top 100. I don't know that
Hmm.
it would make my bottom 50. It would make my worst 100. I think if I did a full 100, probably. But
Hmm. No, I mean that's fair. Mystery Men, I was happy made it because the more we talked about it, the more I was like, I don't know how many people actually care about this, and they should.
I'm surprised it got that many points. That's another one of those
Hmm.
where it's like how because we haven't talked about this enough. Just some of these like smaller like box office bombs or movies that are more obscure. So how many people have even seen them? Because to make
Hmm.
the list, you have to like this is an obvious thing to say, but people have to have first actually bothered to watch them and then thought they were great enough to get on a top 100, which is a barrier to entry for many of these things.
Hmm. No,
Not not
exactly.
all of our audience will have watched as many superhero movies as I do, even if they are, fans of this kind of stuff.
Hmm. No, very true.
Because the only reason I've seen as many as I have is because this is what I do. So like
Hmm.
when I started the channel, I had not seen, you know, like a fraction of the movies I ended up reviewing, even that had come out at that point. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't even know existed.
Hmm. No, of course.
This is shocking. Toxic Avenger is at 84, and the reason
Yeah.
that's shocking to me is because it is so obscure. I'm surprised this much of our audience has even seen it.
Hmm. I feel like it's in a weird place now, especially because, there's been more like re-releases of it. There's that game that I don't know if it came out or if it's coming out. There's like the remake, obviously. Like I feel like unlike Mystery Men, which is more so just kind of left in the dust, like it's been talked about a little bit more recently, so maybe people have gone back to it. I'm not sure.
Maybe so, because that always struck me as a property. I talked about this when we did the commentary recently. That people have heard of and are aware of, but have never actually watched.
Hmm.
Robert
I mean,
makes a
that's fair. That
really
was me for a long time.
Robert makes a really good point. Uh,
Hmm.
will there be movies that will crack both lists for the community list?
I'd imagine so.
He says Batman and Robin wouldn't make my top 50 worst lists. It'd be funny though if it made both Geekvolution community voted lists. I think it could. I think it absolutely is liable to be on the worst list as well as the
I
best
think
list.
BVS could make both. No, I think there's movies that will. Glass could make both.
Glass is liable to be a lot higher on the worst list. I'm excited to see. I'll feel very vindicated when that happens.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have a hard see. I wish I'd made my worst list already because this is gonna influence my worst list. I'm gonna have a hard time
Just
not.
out of spite.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time not. I'm not gonna do it on purpose, but there's a bias. I'm gonna have a hard time not putting it higher, just because that happened.
Just as long as the Toxic Avenger doesn't get that splash damage, that's okay.
83 is Multiverse of Madness. Okay, can I say that I'm actually pretty surprised by?
Yeah, I was. That's why I put gifts kind of making fun of it because a lot of the audience tells us we're wrong about it.
Yeah, do you feel a little vindicated by that? Because you and I really like that movie. I have more complaints about it than you, but I
Mhm.
really enjoy it. I think that's one of, if not the best of Phase 4 and 5.
Mhm. A little bit. There's a big one later on that I felt very vindicated on. I'll say that.
Because we hear all the time from people that think that's one of the worst things that's come out
Hmm. Yeah,
recently.
exactly. Exactly. So, no, I mean, it seems like the people who like it do genuinely really like it.
So 82 is not surprising if it counts. Iron Giant's one of those things that we
I
kind of
expected it to be higher, though.
batted back and forth a little bit. The reason I'm not surprised by that is I wonder how many people did this and actually looked at what counts in the list, because it might not even be on your radar if you're not looking at the list and go, "Oh, that counts." Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I think I also expected it to be more so held up by like the people who like it really like it. You know what I mean? Where it
Oh,
would
so you
get
thought it
more
would
votes
be
that way.
higher on people's lists?
Like I'm surprised it didn't get like a number one vote from at least one person.
Yeah, sure, me too. Robert also expected Iron Giant to be higher. Well, and you and I, when we reviewed it, did nothing but sing our praises about it, and that was on a request. Somebody asked for that.
Hmm.
So we've not even done the rewind commentary on it yet, but it is on our list, so that will happen eventually.
Yeah, I don't think I put it on my list just because I felt weird about it. But I mean, it probably should have made my list.
And it would have been higher on my list if I didn't feel weird about it, because I don't really
Hmm.
think it counts, but had
Hmm.
that with a
Yeah,
couple things.
exactly.
This whole thing is a stupid arbitrary exercise. Let's move on. 81 is the Rocketeer. That is a respectable placement.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too.
I'm loving all these gifts, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I wanted the one of Timothy Dalton standing up and there was the picture behind him, but I couldn't get a gif of that, so I had to go with that one.
It's going to be so funny if I get copyright flagged with a stream because of one of these gifts. I kind of hope that happens, actually. It could be really funny. Uh, Obviously, I don't want the video blocked, but if it just gets flagged, I would enjoy that. That'd be pretty funny. Okay, number 80 is Superman versus the Elite. A pretty respectable placement for that, although I might have thought this group would put that somewhere in the 70s,
Hmm.
or like high 60s, because I still hear a lot from our group about how great that movie is.
Yeah, I think it's probably like a respectable spot just because, with the animated movies, even the good ones, like I do feel like they are just kind of throwaway in a sense,
They're
not
gonna get
in the,
eclipsed by the big live action blockbusters.
yeah, yeah, exactly. As unfortunate as that is.
with
So I
a,
do think that is a case where just the people who like it really like it.
with a
And
couple of exceptions, and that
no, of course, of
that
course.
might have been one of the possible exceptions, but it's
Hmm.
still not gonna be Under the Red Hood. I say that maybe that'll be
Hmm.
59, but like I think that's gonna. Wait a minute. No, I'm looking at or 59, 79. I'm looking at 79. I don't understand 79.
Yeah, I don't understand
This is
79.
another one of those. Somebody just likes
Yeah.
boring helicopter scenes, I guess. Number 79 is Superman Returns. Wait, which tied with Batman the movie?
Batman 66. And Batman 66 did get one vote for number one.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, that's a great movie.
Hmm.
And yeah, how partial I am to
And
Adam
that's
West.
our first movie that has a number one vote.
Thanks for putting those in. That was a really great idea. I
Hmm.
am yeah, I'm still frustrated with myself for not putting it higher on my list than I did. But it is it is not fair to Adam West that we have to look at Superman Returns sitting right next to that. Uh, I
I
I
know,
am
right?
I am genuinely shocked by that there are still people that would put that high, because and I know I made
I
this
was
point
shocked Superman Returns made the list.
at all,
Like, no, exactly.
like
I was
at
like, no
all.
one will vote for that. No one will vote for that.
I know there were a lot of people at the time that it just makes you feel like you're back in childhood and we were seeing the Donner movies again, and that kind of wore off all of us very quickly. And like I've talked about this before, but like I was in that camp too. Like I really enjoyed it first time out, and then when I saw it a second time, I kind of that Man of Steel thing, except more drastically, where I was like, wait, what was I thinking? This doesn't work at all.
Mm.
But Man of Steel at least wasn't boring.
Mhm. No, I mean, I think Superman Returns is a big part of why there is that conversation about is Superman boring now.
Yeah, absolutely. People are shocked and dismayed in the comments. I mean, I can see the torches and pitchforks like through the words here. Okay, Great says wrong.
Wrong!
Wood Grain Beanie likes Superman Returns, so we can blame him, I guess. He says the plane catch is still incredible. I mean, you can't deny the production value.
Mhm.
It's a good looking movie.
The issue is that's like the one thing that happens in the movie.
You don't like watching Superman carry a giant rock?
No.
The biggest travesty to me is that it's sitting next to Adam West Batman.
I know, right? It's heartbreaking.
78 is Hulk with 151 points. Where did you find that image? It's so weird.
It was just under GIFs, but then it doesn't appear to be a GIF because it's not moving.
Everything about it is weird. It's kind of crazy. I don't even know if I can keep it on the screen for too long. It's weird.
But it is really funny.
That's a respectable placement for that. Of course, some people would put that on a worst list. Some people think Ang Lee's Hulk is awful. I've always thought it's a really interesting and ambitious and thoughtful experiment that ultimately doesn't pan out by the end, but is, a respectable effort.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a movie I didn't like as a kid, but like you said, I would watch it over like Tim Story FF, like easily.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But it at least tried.
It's not offensive like that movie in the ways
No, exactly.
it's offensive. And that is kind of tracking with my theory, right? That like this audience that is apparently obsessed with Hulk got Ang Lee's Hulk at 78. I don't know if you would see it that high anywhere else. I wonder. Which really makes me wonder where Incredible Hulk is if it made the list. It must have. Because it wasn't even a runner-up. It must have. All right, number... He can't tell me he's tight-lipped. 77 is the Lego Movie, which is another one of those that is weird that it's on our list, and we've talked about why, and I had it pretty high on my list just because I think it's a masterpiece. But being in a list of superhero movies when it's not really a superhero movie, that placement makes perfect sense, and it's probably a more sober placement than where I had it.
And it got one number one pick.
That's surprising just because it's on a list of superhero movies. I wouldn't have thought that it would make anybody's absolute top like that.
Yeah, one person really loves it.
Number 7
enough to be number one.
Yeah, number 76 is Aquaman. So it's a little high.
Yeah, a little bit higher than I expected, but people also really like that movie.
Didn't make mine. I enjoy that more than a lot of people that we've worked with on the channel in the past. Like I said, I wouldn't have put it on a list, but if it was gonna be here, I would have thought more in like the 90s. Maybe not though, because if you're thinking just like what worked in DCEU, yeah, it is toward the top. That's what they had to work with.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't on your list either, right?
No, I don't like Aquaman.
Oh wait, you just straight up don't like it.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that movie at all.
I'm more charitable with that.
I mean, I also feel like
yeah,
I'm very uncharitable towards the DCU. Like, I think most people probably are more charitable than I am with it.
I appreciated some of the just audaciousness with that. And again, it was relative to everything else going on that somehow you went from let's take ourselves way too insanely seriously. And like the pendulum absolutely went too far the other way. And I said that when it first came out and we reviewed it, but I'd rather that. I'd rather have that than
Hmm.
the obnoxious self-seriousness of the early Snyder movies.
Hmm. No, I mean, that's fair.
I also still think it's funny that they put like every Aquaman thing from the last 10 years in that movie, and I was like, what do you do with a sequel? And then that came out and I was like, yep, that's what I thought.
They had to make up something.
Yeah. Nothing. There's nothing to do for a sequel. 75 is Doctor Strange, which is pretty consistent. It makes sense that that's higher than Multiverse of Madness.
Hmm. Yeah,
That poster's
exactly.
boss.
No, it's a great poster. When I saw that, I was like, that's the one.
Look at Stephen Strange there being impressed with himself for being on this list twice already. He's so impressed with
Yeah,
himself.
he digs it.
Nicholas Bodo, hyped to see Momoa as Lobo, though. Are you excited about the Lobo thing, or are you like, that seems too obvious now and I wish we could
No,
have
I
moved
I
on?
think
Or
that's fun.
do you?
Yeah, no, I think that's fun. And I think in an interview he came out recently and was like, "Oh, I got the motorcycle and everything." I'm like, "Oh, that's gonna be cool."
It does just seem correct.
Hmm. No, I mean there are casting choices that I think are so obvious for a reason.
Yeah. I still love, though, that he's played two Atlanteans in his life. That makes me happy.
That is funny.
Number 74 is a movie I don't like, but I know people do. It's fine. Whatever. There's Super. We can just move on.
And you can scan that barcode, I guess. I didn't even notice that was there.
It probably doesn't take you to the trailer now. I wouldn't imagine.
Maybe it does. Do barcodes expire?
Well, probably if it takes you to a website that's defunct.
Oh, if it's just to a website, then yeah, you're
I
right.
mean, I would imagine that's what it does. It says watch the trailer now. That's what it does. So
I figured it could be like a YouTube link. I don't
it would
know.
have to be hosted somewhere. Oh, it might be. It could be. That's fair.
Hmm.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't have anything to add. I'm not surprised by
Yeah.
that.
No, I'm happy it made it.
I shouldn't be surprised about this next one, I guess. But I wouldn't have
Yeah, it
put
was always going to be there.
Yeah. So there's Justice League. There's the Snyder cut. And I realize that you didn't distinguish cuts, but I mean, let's face it. That's
Nobody
already
voted for the theatrical cut. Everybody that wanted Justice League put in the Snyder cut.
yeah. No, I'm sure. I mean, I like that it's quite a bit higher than BVS. It is better than that. Like as a movie. You probably find BVS more watchable than Justice League.
I do. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would probably watch the theatrical cut over the Snyder cut, gun to my head, just because it's shorter.
No, I would
Uh,
cheat it. I would cheat and watch it on 2 times speed, but
yeah, for sure.
because there's stuff in it I like. It just drags on and doesn't need to be even half the length it is. I think the story that's in that movie you could tell in less than 2 hours.
Mhm.
I do. It's been
I
a
mean,
while.
absolutely.
You certainly didn't need the Super Friends level, like sound of Superman's scream reverberating out to the universe for 10 straight minutes. You didn't need that. I don't know if
I
I've
mean,
ever
at least it's
laughed.
kind of amusing.
I don't know if I've ever laughed at anything as hard as I did when we did the watch party for that.
It does set a bad tone because it makes it seem like the rest of the movie is going to be more funny than it actually is. But
That's true. That's what you're looking for.
mhm.
Moving right along. Also, I love that you used the image for the Justice is Gray version.
Yeah, I think that was just The only I think just all the posters for that look like that,
Oh, did they just
but I could be
were
wrong.
all the posters? Yeah, because you're right. It
Yeah, 'cause it
doesn't
doesn't
say
say
that,
Justice is Gray
and
on
it
it. I
says
think it's just yeah.
the streaming date.
Hmm.
Wow, it was
Yeah,
that
I think that just
pretentious
is the
from
main
the.
one.
It was that pretentious from the beginning. All right,
Yeah,
number 72. I have some respect for some things in that movie. There it is. I knew that was coming.
and that is a cool poster too. I'll give it that.
I've never seen that. That's crazy.
And finding MCU posters that don't suck is really hard.
Um, I think that movie was the blueprint for a lot of what has gone wrong with Phase 4 and 5.
Mhm. I am maybe a little surprised it's not a tiny bit higher, but at the same time, I do think as time goes on, it becomes more and more
Some
polarizing
people have
than
turned
when
on
it
it
first came out.
that were really into
Yeah.
it in the first place because I think they were fine with it if that was like the exception rather than the rule. And then when
Mhm.
too many things stop taking themselves very seriously and the stop everything kind of comedy was at the forefront, and especially because hardly anybody liked Love and Thunder. I think Love and Thunder had some Ragnarok fans kind of turn on it when
Mhm.
when they went oh that like that's what this was leading to, okay. Also you had this kind of drastic shift where people that loved Ragnarok hated Love and Thunder, and I actually think Love and Thunder is a little bit better than that movie in some ways, and I think they're both awful, but
No, it's both better and worse. Like it hits that exact nail.
you're totally right.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is still a thing that I'll never understand people's love for. I can't
Mhm.
figure it out.
Yeah, who knows?
And you said you're surprised it's not higher. I actually wasn't sure where that would land. I figured it would be on the list, but I couldn't begin to tell you where it was going to fall at
I
this
could
at
have
this
seen it.
point.
I could have seen it breaking 60, if not 50.
Yeah, even this far,
Yeah, because
this much
there are still
later.
people that really like that.
Wow. Even Robert says Ragnarok is more watchable than Love and Thunder. Maybe
Yeah,
I
I don't.
was
I don't
just
know.
already adjusted to
They're both just really annoying.
what the director's sensibilities was with that, where at least there were some scenes where I was able to kind of half take it seriously. Um, but anyway,
Yeah,
here's
that's the stuff I think is better. Is that there are like maybe two scenes where they kind of drop that, but also the comedy stuff is way more annoying. So that's where it's worse.
oh, the Zeus thing.
Yeah, the
Good
goats.
good lord. Oh, the goats. I forgot all about that. All right, moving right along. I don't want to think about that anymore. 71 is Ant-Man. Well, at least it beat
Ants.
Ants. At least it beat Ragnarok. That's good.
Yeah,
Um,
that's at least
Nothing
something.
surprising about that placement.
No, I feel like that's pretty normal.
Now that's another movie that I wouldn't be surprised if people were a little bit less high on after where things have gone.
Hmm. Yeah, it's possible, but also at the same time, like that movie's so just kind of disconnected. Like it might be easy to just keep it in a vacuum.
Yeah, and it absolutely is. And I mean, I liked it well enough to put it on my list, but it wasn't that high.
I think it made like number 98 or something on mine. It's fine.
70 is Thor.
Ah!
Hey, I've never seen this poster either.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there's a poster with his helmet. That's fun.
Yeah.
I'll get that, even though he wears it for 2 seconds.
um, does that surprise you at all?
No, I could have gone either way on Ant-Man or Thor winning out. I'm happy that it beat out Ragnarok.
I guess I am too. I still think that that's on the low end of the early MCU movies. Although I guess it technically holds together a little bit better than Iron Man 2. I would rather watch Iron Man 2.
No, same here. It's Iron Man 2 is higher highs, but Thor is fine. Um,
That's our review. 69 is Donnie Darko. Yeah, I shouldn't count. Another movie that we will, well, a movie that we'll never understand why people consider it a superhero movie. It's not even, it shouldn't be on the list. It's a lot of people count it as a superhero movie and don't even think twice about putting it on the list. And it's on the list because of those weirdos. I I'll never get that, but
yeah, I have no idea.
I
I couldn't begin to explain. I've
so
had people be like, "You need to explain to me why that's on the list," and I'm like, "But I can't. I don't know."
so I know people love that movie. It's really surprising to me that it's this high with this audience. Like,
Mhm,
another thing that is obscure enough that I would know even how many of our viewers have ever seen it.
mhm. I mean, that's like another big cult classic.
But a thing that I hadn't thought about in years until somebody requested it for a unscripted rewind a long time ago. And I was like, oh yeah, that's
Mhm.
right, Donnie Darko. Like I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't heard anybody mention it in like 20 years. 15 years, I don't know. 68 is Megamind. Are you surprised that's quite that high?
No, because people that like that movie really like
It
that
is that
movie, and
good. It's
there
absolutely
was a
deserving
like,
of that.
and there was a big like vocal anger when that sequel came out. So I wasn't surprised. I could have seen it even going a little higher.
Yeah, fair enough. It's great. Okay, that actually does surprise me. You guys can't. So I personally think the Wolverine is good enough for this placement, but that's a thing that's a little polarizing.
Yeah, I think the Wolverine, the first like 15 minutes is like the best on-screen Wolverine, and everything after that is kind of eh.
Yeah, and I liked the story a lot better after I wrote about it. Uh,
Mhm.
and I gave it too high a marks on the old scripted rewind. We've talked about this, but I would have thought our audience would be split enough on it that you would see it lower on the list. 206
Oh,
points
okay.
seems high to me. I'm surprised by that.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you thought it was low. Okay.
No, maybe I
I mean,
said the
that's fair.
wrong word, but yeah, I that's higher than I would have expected with this audience.
People really like Wolverine.
Yeah, it's also hard not to just like take the vocal majority or the people that you like voices you hear louder as like more people than maybe it is. Or I guess all I'm
Mhm.
thinking about are the people that kind of booed at me when I gave it pretty high marks on the old scripted rewind. You're like, Captain, it's just not that good.
Well,
Number
it's in an awkward spot where like it's just kind of like and then the first one is really bad, and people obviously really loved the third one. So it's like that weird middle one. So it doesn't really get talked about because people talk about the really bad one, people talk about the really good one, and that movie's just kind of okay. It kind of slips through the conversation, I
You're right.
think.
It's not even in the conversation anymore. A movie that I wish would not be in a conversation anymore, and of course is this high with our audience because people have, for years and years and years, been trying to turn me around on this, and it ain't gonna happen, folks. Okay, I'm steel when it comes to this. It's Spider-Man 3.
So you're gonna be mad about this one, and I'm mad about the next one. So we're in good company.
Oh, oh, good. An absolute complete mess is like almost the halfway point here
Yeah, it
for
being on the
me.
list a couple of minutes ago wouldn't have been so bad either.
How yeah, are you surprised at the placement there? I'm really not because
I'm not. It's had
we've
like a
got
real
enough people
turnaround.
yelling at me over the years about how great that movie is.
No, I think that movie's been reappraised to some degree at this point.
Not by me.
It's the best of the bad ones. I can give it that.
One thing, do I agree with that? I probably agree with that. Well, and it depends on what you consider the bad ones because I like Amazing One and I know you don't. But
Mhm.
Spider-Man 3, um, something that you got to keep in mind with me is that I don't tolerate prequelitis. Like I just can't deal with it.
Mhm. No, and I mean
And
I
so
hate what they do with the origin.
when you start, I say prequel. It's not a prequel, but when you start like retconning the origin that way, I can't take you seriously. And then there's plenty of other stuff. But anyway, whatever. People know I don't like that movie. I know we can still get along. It'll be fine. 65. So I'm in
Shang-Chi.
So I'm completely indifferent to Shang-Chi. Somebody put it at number 1. That's a little surprising to me. I would not have thought it would be
My
this
mortal
high.
enemy.
Yeah, you have a big disdain for this movie, and I just can't drum up any feelings about it.
So a lot of it just comes down to, I think the main actor is really annoying, and you guys had that the Nicole Kidman thing in front of every movie. Well, we had a one with the Shang-Chi guy that was really obnoxious. So it took a movie I didn't like and made it so much worse because it was pushed in my face every time I went to the theater. I was like, I hate this movie now, and I do play it up a little bit, but I don't know. I do genuinely really dislike Shang-Chi.
I'm gonna fast track it on the commentary project.
Oh no. And I mean, the Mandarin stuff is a big thing that really bothers me. But
Yeah.
we'll get to it when we get to it on Rewind.
It's still funny that it promised the Ten Rings returning, but not its title character.
With Girl Boss Mandarin.
Jason brings that up every time this movie comes up. He still thinks that's the funniest thing the MCU has ever done. The Ten Rings return. He's like, what about the main character? Is he ever gonna come back?
He hasn't come back yet, so
neither is the Ten Rings.
But they're coming back.
So is he. Well, we got an announcement that he's actually coming back now.
Yeah, but the Ten Rings will probably show up before him.
In what though? Maybe not.
They'll be in Spider-Man. They'll be the main villain.
I hope so now. I hope so now. That's one more day. Or a brand new day. The brand new day is Spider-Man's fighting. He's not fighting with people that aren't really Spider-Man characters. He's fighting against other people's villains now. That's what he's doing. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Cap 4.
Nicholas Bodo says Spider-Man 3 above Superman versus the Elite is a war crime.
No kidding.
Matthew Bass, Shang-Chi is the definition of mediocre. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, I've never gone back to it.
And that's one of the things that frustrated me too with it is that I've always said that is the cookie cutter the most cookie cutter one, where you can see the outline of the cookie cutter,
to the point where I was struggling to not fall asleep during the climax. I mean, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. It's so paint by number.
When the climax just gives up on being a martial arts movie.
Yeah.
But anyways,
and I can live with that. I mean, that sucks because it obviously looks like it should be a kung fu movie. But if the story and characterization is grabbing me more, that's why I don't have some of the issues that you do with Black Panther, because it won me over so much just with the story it was telling.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't care so much about the action being stiff and stuff. I didn't even notice it first time out because I was just engaged with the material.
Yeah, and I don't really like the story of that movie that much, so
yeah, sure,
that makes sense. I'm more lost into it.
64 is Daredevil, which I really respect. I don't even think that's right. I think that's too high. But I've got such a soft spot for that movie that I applaud it making it that high, even though I disagree. And I say that, I probably had it higher on my list. I can't even remember where I put it. But again, as a favorite, I've got too much.
Somebody picked it as number 1, so...
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
I don't need a costume. That's not shocking for this audience. I know we've got viewers that still love that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
63 is Deadpool 2.
It's not Titanic. I don't know what that means, but
I don't either, but it's so random. It's funny.
Robert, did you combine votes for both cuts? Yes. Most people, I think, voted specifically director's cut, but yeah, I combined everything that was like an alternate cut. It just got combined into the same thing.
If the director's cut never existed, that's not on this list. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, probably.
I have nothing to add about Deadpool 2 being at 63. I mean, I think 1 and 3 are like way above it for me, but I know people like that movie better than I do. And I mean, it's still fun. I just think it's a giant step below the other two.
That's about where I expected it to be.
Which makes me wonder how high Deadpool and Wolverine is.
I don't remember.
62 is that Puss in Boots movie, which I know nothing about, but everybody says is like the best thing ever, and somebody put it in number 1. Is this the only movie on this list so far I've never seen? Oh no!
Yes.
No. What was it? The Losers.
Oh, true.
I've never seen that. I don't think. Oh, now I got to get back down and find my place here.
There it is.
I found it. So I want to say I'm surprised that's that high, just because that's a movie that I've not heard talked about a lot. So like, if people have seen that, like everybody that I hear talk about that acts like it's a masterpiece. So if people have seen it, it makes sense it's up that high. But I just don't know how popular that is.
I think it did really well.
Did it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know the exact numbers, but I saw a lot of people talking about it when it came out. That was what made me watch it. I was like, "Oh, is this really that good?"
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And it is.
Well, I look forward to the rewind on that. I doubt if I'll watch it before that happens, but
that'll be a fun one to do.
61 is Chronicle, which is one of those movies that you and I are on different sides of. But I'm happy to see that high. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I expected it to be here. I think that's respectable.
It is. 60 is not respectable.
No. This one we're on the same side for.
Yeah. Now, I'm not surprised. I'll just say this before we reveal it. I'm not surprised this movie made the list.
Same here. I expected it to be on here.
Being as high as it is at this point, because I know I'm not the only person that's turned against it. And I used to like this movie a lot more than I do now. But the seam showed real hard. When 2 came out, or just before 2 came out, because watching it in preparation, I had the exact same thing with this that I did with Man of Steel going into BVS, I think. And that's Joker.
Absolutely.
The difference is, Man of Steel is absolutely a way better movie than Joker.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd have to think about it.
Travis
Man of Steel
Warren,
also gives me a headache, so it might technically be worse for me. So,
well,
I don't know.
I don't know how Joker dancing on the staircase in this GIF isn't giving you a headache.
No, that's how I feel when society.
Travis Warren, $2 super chat. Justice for Aquaman 1, way better than the Marvels.
I mean, yes, but also both of them suck.
And I like the Marvels well enough to put it on my top 100. And
I mean, that's fine.
I'm not going to apologize for that. So I guess I am objectively.
If I could turn back time, I would put Madam Web on mine. You don't have to.
I guess I'm saying the Marvels is better than Aquaman for me. I don't even know if that's true, because I enjoyed Aquaman okay. In fact, I don't even know why the Marvels is there and Aquaman isn't on my list, because I don't think I included them. I also might have been being just slightly provocative by by including that. I might have missed Woodgreen Beanie's super chat earlier when he said Rocketeer was his second favorite movie of all time. I don't, or superhero movie. I don't think I said that.
I don't think you did too, and interesting.
Apologies there.
Hmm.
I know people that think very, very highly of that movie, and I mean it's great, but like I know people that put it very, very high.
Hmm. That's really good.
That's one of those movies that I was kind of late to the party on, where I was kind of surprised I didn't see it when I was a kid.
Hmm. I do feel like I probably would have liked it more if I saw it as a kid, but I do like it.
Actually, I say that now I'm second guessing. I can't remember if I did see that as a kid.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to go back to the commentary we made to find out if I saw that as a kid. Have you and I done that yet?
No.
I guess we haven't. I'm gonna have to go back to videos I've made about that before I did anything with you. It's getting late. I
Gotta
can't.
love how that's how you find out your opinions.
Yeah, I've been streaming so much tonight I can't remember my own history anymore. No, I'm pretty sure. Or if I did, it was well after it came out in the theater. Maybe I only saw like pieces of it. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, for sure.
59 is Blade 2. That's a good placement.
I'm shocked. Uh, I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
Oh,
Never mind.
where things are falling. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I had like a moment where I was like, wait a minute, no, shut up, shut up.
But I have to say this: there's no way the end of that sentence is Trinity is higher.
No, no.
There's no
Actually,
way that's
no.
where that was going. So you're surprised that so I'm assuming the end of that sentence is I'm surprised Blade 2 didn't beat out Blade, which I'm with you on. Because Blade 2 is I think most people would agree it's the better movie.
Hmm.
We've talked a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah,
We've
but
compared it a lot. Yeah, but there was no chance that Blade didn't make this list.
that is true. But I was like, I shouldn't have said that. I had a Hagrid moment.
You're all right. But you and I have compared this a lot to the X-Men movies where Blade and Blade 2 are kind of like X-Men and X2, except Blade does get a lot more done than that first X-Men does, and it is a better
Yeah,
story.
Blade is a better movie.
But
Absolutely.
It still does kind of have that.
Hmm. No, I guess it's more comparable with like Spider-Man to Spider-Man 2 to a degree, maybe like mixed with X-Men, but I also like Spider-Man 1 more than Spider-Man 2, so
I like how you have
but
all
like
these unusual posters, but this one is just the normal Blade 2 poster.
there wasn't yeah, I mean the normal one there's like it's like a white background, so it's like a little different, but not a lot of great options for Blade 2
This is the one
unfortunately.
I'm more familiar with though, because I think that's the DVD box.
Okay, I mean it's the same pose, but it's like a white background. But it might be the
No, I think
kind
the
of
box I
interchangeable.
have is that background.
Hmm.
Almost
Okay.
positive, but I'm not going to go back and find out right now. 58 is Hellboy 2 The Golden Army. That's a little higher than I might have expected. Maybe.
Oh, see, I also thought that was a little low.
Yeah?
It's funny that you get both Del Toro movies back to back.
Now, I am
I'm not
surprised
I shouldn't say both, but
I am surprised that that didn't beat out the first one.
mhm.
Don't most people think of that as a better movie than the first one?
Most people that I've talked to, I do know people that like one over two. Like I know John thinks that Hellboy 2 is the worst of the Hellboy movies, but
Oh, okay.
um, yeah, I think most people like two over one. Although I think there's also people that thought two was too silly at the time. Uh, so maybe that's part of it.
Do you think with some of these franchises, with our audience, there's like a sense of iconic standing of like maybe a sequel is technically a better story, but like my introduction and love for that character starts with the first one, so I put it above it. Like, do you think that happens?
Yeah, it's possible, and people might have the reverse of what I have with Hellboy, where I like Hellboy 2 because I don't think Del Toro does a great job adapting Hellboy, and he kind of just gives up with that on the second one and does his own thing. So you might have people who have the reverse that are like, oh well, they strayed too far away from the comics, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. And I've never had a dog in that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
57 is Darkman. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, I was happy to see it get so high.
It doesn't really make up for the fact that Flash and Split are on this list, but
Yeah, Glass.
or Glass, yeah, Split. that Split is at 100. That ain't right. It's a better movie than that.
That boy ain't right.
I'm surprised that's this high. That's another one of those. I'm a broken record. That's another movie where I'm like, how much of our audience has actually seen it?
Mm-hmm.
284 points. That's awesome.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, I'm surprised it beat out Hellboy 2, but that's cool.
I love doing these lists, Austin. It feels like watching sports.
My team done won.
Can't wait to find out what the score is going to be. You know, and like a lot of games where the two teams are, getting ahead and behind each other all the way through. It's got its highs and its lows, man.
Exactly. Next, it'll be like number 56's Glass 2.
Wow, it's weird how many people made up a crappy movie. I'm really surprised by that. 56 is Deadpool and Wolverine. I actually thought that might be a little higher. And that
No,
means,
I think that's a good spot.
oh, I like that placement a lot, but I just thought it could have been higher with this audience. And that makes me wonder how much higher the first Deadpool is going to be, because I personally agree with that, but I didn't know how many other people would, because I put the first Deadpool higher than the other two, and I love that movie a lot, and I really didn't expect Deadpool and Wolverine to beat it.
Yeah, and I mean, you do have recency bias for things sometimes too.
Ooh, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. What is it?
Like, since I said recency
I see,
bias.
I see what you mean. I've never heard that phrase, but it makes sense. Yes, that it came out recently, and so people have it fresh in their minds. But
yeah, so you go like, oh, well, I really liked that one, but like you might not like it more than the other two. It's just that's the one that's fresher in your head.
that's why I thought it would beat out Deadpool.
I mean, I could have seen that happening.
Yeah.
But I do think that recency bias is probably why it's that high, but I think that placement's fine.
Yeah. I do think that's one that will, I mean, especially for people that love that franchise and love Reynolds in that role, I think that will hold up for people. I don't think that's going to be a thing that 5 years later people look at it again and go, oh, that's not as good as I remember it.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think. I might have recency bias. I like that
exactly.
movie. I like that movie a lot, though. OAW Entertainment $5 super chat. Thank you. I like Blade 1 and Hellboy more, or Hellboy 1 more, but Del Toro really flexes muscles and weaved his stories with the sequels.
Yeah, for sure. Does he work on the story for 2? Because I know Goyer writes all 3 Blades, but
I don't know.
Each Blade movie has its own flavor, and I think part of that is just director, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Would you believe we've been at this for an hour and a half already?
Wild. I mean,
know.
we're making good progress, I think.
We're doing okay. We're 5 away from 50, and then we'll have to decide if we're going to break into a second half next week or if we're going to plow forward.
Yeah, and it's up to you. I'm good to keep going if you are.
Okay, let me think about it. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, you got 5 more to figure it out.
Yeah, 55 is Hellboy. Okay, so they were pretty close together then.
Yeah, they were pretty close to even.
We need to finally do a quote-unquote new movie review on the new one, because I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, and I like that movie a lot.
He's already done his green sign flip. You already had it on your top 100.
Yeah, exactly. That was my green sign flip.
Stop it right now.
Stop it.
I have seen that poster, but you're right. That's one of the less well-known ones, and it's cool.
Yeah, it is neat. A lot of the main ones are more I don't like not as flashy, just kind of like Hellboy standing there. I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool one.
54 is Dark Knight Returns. That seems about right.
Yeah, and this one I put the book cover because every poster for the movie sucks. So it's like, I'll do you a bone, Dark Knight Returns, and just throw the book cover on.
I threw the book at it.
Yeah, exactly. And I put Batman on a horse for you.
Oh, thanks. That's great. Yeah, those covers were nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're so bland.
It's very strange that they didn't do the lightning thing, and like, it's easy to complain about like how iconic and overly used the lightning thing is, but you're doing a cover for Dark Knight Returns. That's what the cover is. Just do it.
Yeah, at least make something that looks more like what the style is, even if it's the movie version.
Yeah,
It's so generic.
Just put Batman on a horse. Have that be the cover.
Yeah, no, it's like that 4K of Mask of the Phantasm, where it's like this is so bland. Like,
I know what you think the front cover should have been. The Russian woman with the swastikas.
that should have been the cover for the combo pack that is both of them, the deluxe edition. Because that's the only way you would know you're getting two films.
Oh, good call. I have a question. You're putting out a Dark Knight Returns combo pack with a coloring book. What coloring book does it come with?
Probably like a Silver Age Aquaman coloring book.
Perfect. That's not baffling and confusing as to why those are related at all. 53 is the first X-Men movie.
Yeah, which I think is a little high, but
too.
also I can kind of see it. I guess I think that's probably a movie that people had on their list, probably not especially high, but like enough people had it.
I put it shockingly high on my list and wasn't sure what I was smoking that evening. But just for this, because I'm going to look like a hypocrite where people are going to look at this and be like, well, Cap, you're saying that's high. Do you know how high you had it on your list? Like, yeah, but I just mean for the community list. I would not have thought X-Men would crack past 70.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel like 70 is a spot that makes sense.
And what that means is that we'll see 2 or 3 or 4 more. Like higher, right?
52 is X-Men Apocalypse.
Well, because you have to have at least X2, First Class, and Days of Future Past. I'm trying to think, besides Logan, if there are any other X-Men related movies that are good enough to be past X1. Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I mean, that's those are the good ones.
And I just think almost objectively, regardless of which movies you think are great and which movies you think are not that good, people split the X-Men movies kind of down the middle. So you're going to have several on your best of list and several on your worst of list.
Yeah. No, the ones that you said, we were like, this will be in front of. If you were to name those and say, what's the next best one? It's the first X-Men. So that makes sense.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Next up is the first Blade. So again, pretty close to 2, but I am still pretty surprised that Blade 2 didn't beat it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's, certain things like everybody remembers the opening. Everybody quotes the ice skate line. Like, I guess there's maybe enough in that first film that it's maybe a little bit more iconic.
Here's a weird question for you. Do you think it's possible that there's anybody in our audience that has never seen 2 and just saw 1 and remembered it from years ago?
In our audience, I would say no.
Probably not.
But it is possible. But I'm sure there are lots of people that have only seen the first Blade.
OEW. Okay, brothers, feel free to throw stones at me, but I just tuned in. Is this the audience list? Yes, it's the audience list. Because Cap and Austin spent the last year doing this.
Yeah, this is still ours. We're only at 52.
We're milking this so hard that we're just going back through all of it. What we realized we were missing was a cool slideshow, so we're doing it all over again with the cool slideshow.
Yeah, if you want to call it cool.
Oh, it's wonderful. The blank white background and everything, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's
51
beautiful.
is Dark Knight Rises.
Hmm.
What is that? Somebody put it at number one. I'm gonna guess that was Connor Nielsen. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I don't think I saw Connor's one, but I also he might just have an email that's not Connor
He
Nielsen,
he
whatever.
may or may not have even made one. I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, I'm
Yeah, I'm
just
not sure.
I'm just kidding, Connor. Connor loves that movie.
I
Um,
do think, though, if I remember correctly, I do think that it is a movie that like maybe five people put on their list, but really high.
so a lot of people
I
left it
do think it
off.
had that. Mhm. From what I remember, I do think it is a movie that just a couple of people put really high, and like that's the reason it's as high as it is.
In that case, I guess it's not that surprising that it's this high, but just not
Mhm.
knowing that, thinking it almost makes the top half, considering a how many people like me just don't think it works and thinks it's an unfortunate end for that franchise, and b how many people used to like it okay and have kind of turned on it.
And I'll say it's a much better film than Number 50.
Is it? Oh no. And like just for production and stuff, and because Bane is like, I just can't deny how much fun that is to make fun of. Like
Mhm.
I toyed around with putting it at like 99 or 100. I mean, I gave it
Mhm.
like a 2.5 back in the scripted rewind days. I also keep my Man of Steel cracked my list. So like
Mhm.
I kicked that around. It won't be on my worst of list. I'll say that. But I do think this is a
It probably
movie
won't make mine either.
that could make both community lists.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's
It'll
entirely
probably be
possible.
like really low on. I mean, I guess technically, if it's only a top 50, it would technically be higher than it is in the good one, just for making the worst. But
Yeah, if we did 100 for that, I think you'd see it. But if we only
mhm.
do 50, we may not.
Yeah, for sure, it'll depend on what we get.
God, just for comparison, I kind of want to do 100 for community, even if
Oh,
we don't do it.
50 is not the movie I thought it
I was
was.
gonna say
Okay,
50's a great
no,
film,
50 is a good film. It's 49 that is much
and
worse.
I had it higher. But given that it's a superhero movie that isn't really a superhero movie, I think this is more than respectable. 50 is Birdman.
You should have clicked it before I had a chance to clarify.
That would have been funny. It's gonna be really fun to do that commentary with you, Austin.
No, I'm excited to do that one because I haven't seen it since it came out, and I really liked that movie.
That's one of those movies. I say that's one of those movies. I say that too much. That movie is interesting because the ending should kill it for me, and somehow it doesn't. So it's simultaneously like really pretentious to me by the end, and the rest of it is so good I almost don't care.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, for sure.
that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, that puts us at 50. So now I have a choice to make.
Oh yeah. What are you leaning? Like I said, it doesn't bother me. I'm good either way.
I just saw 49.
It's a much worse film
I
than
don't know if
Dark Knight
I don't know if I
Rises.
can leave it at this, knowing what that is. Wow.
Way,
Austin,
way too high.
yeah, if you're good, I kind of want to blow through it.
I'm perfectly fine to just blow through it.
I kind of want to do
Absolutely.
it. I think the
Yeah.
second half could go faster. Um,
hmm
are you cool if we take a quick break?
Yeah, yeah. If you need a break, we can do it.
Yeah, everybody, give us like 2 or 3 minutes. I'll try to find some kind of music so it's not dead air. I didn't have anything
Oh, do
planned
the
here.
Spider-Man Carnival music.
No, I'm not gonna make everybody sit through that again. Not for that long,
Oh.
especially. No, I gotta put Austin in check every now and again.
Aw. Every now and then I have to be reminded to go to my corner.
Just go to your corner.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Anyway, appreciate you guys. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes.
Yep.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's time for the second half of the Community Top 100, and we'll see if we can blow through these a little bit quicker. The next one, Austin, I don't even know what to say. I don't. Not Birdman. We were both very excited about Birdman.
And everyone's been guessing. Nobody's got it.
This next one is a movie that I would not have expected to see on the list at all.
Yeah, and of its franchise, I think it is hands down the worst one. But yeah, the fact it broke the top 50, I think, is insane.
And I think I agree with that, but I don't think I dislike it as much as
I don't
Spider-Man
think you
3.
dislike as much as I
so
do.
It's Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't understand this.
I'm out. Nope. Boo. That should not have broken the top 50. That's ridiculous.
So is this like Dark Knight Rises, where it was like 5 people?
I don't remember. I'd have to look back.
I would be curious to know if there were somehow a bunch of people that gave it a few points.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know.
That movie's not even... I didn't think that movie was even really thought of as polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I thought I disliked it a lot less than a lot of people do, and I still don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't... When it came out, I wasn't angry about it. I was surprised by the vitriol that people had with that movie. And like I said, I'm angrier about Spider-Man 3 here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the chat's losing it right now.
And this is why we do these, folks. Dan's Den, his finger fell asleep on the T button when he wrote what. Tom Atkins is quoting Aquaman as saying outrageous. Robert is blaming John.
I mean, I'm pretty sure John has said Amazing Spider-Man 2 is better than Spider-Man 2, so blame John, I agree.
Man, I don't know if I'm ever bringing him back now. Matthew Basswell, I'm shocked it's this high. I'm shocked it's on the list at all.
If it made the list, I would expect it to be 190. Not below 50.
Also, I'm confident in saying I would almost bet real money on this. There's no way that doesn't crack both lists then.
Yeah, especially with how vocal people are right now, that'll probably make the worst.
Well, and this will encourage people to put it higher on the worst list.
The spite votes.
There's going to be this revolt. Like when I saw pitchforks earlier, they're larger now.
Mm-hmm. No, I think Amazing 2 is the worst Spider-Man movie, and it's not even close. Um,
Okay, but
like it's
Robert,
easily the worst one.
and Robert, I know you're being hyperbolic, but you got to keep in mind he got 387 points. The most that John by himself could have given it is less than a third of that, and it doesn't say that it got a number one vote. Somehow it got
Yeah.
387 points. Nobody put it at number one.
Rises needed
Oh,
a
wait.
number
What am
one
I talking
vote to
about?
bump it
They
that
didn't.
high up.
No, this is even crazier. What am I talking about? Sorry. I said less than a third. People didn't even make top 100 lists. They made 50. That means the most you could give it is 50 points. Nobody gave it 50 points. It still got 387 points. How's that possible? As hated as that is, and it's like every person in the comments is acting like they've died and gone to hell here.
Hot Soup says get ready for Amazing 2 to be the number one on the worst list.
And that means there's no chance Amazing 1 isn't on this list.
Well, I mean, I don't like Amazing 1, but it's way better than the first one, and I would say that everyone would agree with that, I would think.
You mean it's way better than this?
Oh, did I say the other way around?
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
I know what you meant. Okay. I guess we'll move on. That is easily the most shocking thing we've seen so far. I mean, there's
No,
a couple.
I genuinely, when that came up, I was like mad. I was like, what?
Glass and Flash being on the list is weird to me. Amazing
They at least had the
Spider-Man
dignity
2
to be at the end.
being in the top 50?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're in Bizarro World.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right. 48, speaking of Bizarro World. I said that because it's the Superman thing. Man of Steel at 48. So I expected Man of Steel to be on the list. As polarizing as that movie is, it's maybe surprising it made it this high.
It's a little high, I would say. I don't feel as strongly about it as I do Amazing 2, because I at least expected it to be a bit higher. Like, I expected it to at least break the top 70 to 60. In a way I didn't for Amazing 2, so...
Well, I mean, the difference between those movies is Man of Steel has some merit here and there. Again, I wasn't angry at the Amazing 2 like a lot of people were, but wait, it's funny because they're both baffling movies, but in kind of different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's keep going here. 47 is Amazing Spider-Man, so they're almost right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Strange.
You almost have a trinity here of Amazing 2, Amazing 1, and Man of Steel.
And that seems a little high to me, but I guess not for a group that put Amazing 2 on the list.
No, and there are people, like DJ, for example, that I know that really like Amazing 1. So, like, I definitely expected it to be higher. I'm not surprised that Amazing 1 broke the top 50.
Yeah, I guess not. I think I'm also just thinking there's so many Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of competition.
Well, kind of, my immediate thought was, Amazing 2 gets on here just because it is a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that brings it onto the list.
Maybe so. All right, 46 is No Way Home.
You have all the Andrew Garfield ones, like, right around the same spot. I didn't even think of that with No Way Home being there.
Weird, that's true.
Yeah. Andrew Garfield is just a bottom of the top 50 type of guy.
And I don't know if you can say recency bias with that so much, because it's been like 4 years now.
No, I think it would be higher if it were a little closer to release, because there are a lot of people that have gone back to it and been like,
yeah,
this doesn't hold up.
Yeah, I wonder how many
If we did this list like 2 years ago, it's probably quite a bit higher.
Yeah, I think so too. And I wonder how many people voted for it, haven't gone back to it,
Hmm.
and are just still kind of on the high they were when it was in the theater. Because I had a lot of negative things to say about that movie. I didn't dislike it as much as uh, you and some other people that were with us reviewing it, but I liked it a lot more the first time than I did the second time.
I like it more than Amazing too.
Like I haven't gone back to it because I don't imagine that's very rewatchable.
Mm.
It just feels like
Yeah,
such a
absolutely.
stunt event kind of thing.
Hmm.
More so
Yeah,
than
I think I've seen it
Endgame,
like two or
even
three times.
to me, in some ways.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I think it helps that this is just a Spider-Man movie, while that was like an event movie. And obviously, this is to a degree too, but like it is still just a Spider-Man movie.
Well, yeah, but the point I'm making is just for me, I feel like Endgame is more rewatchable than No Way Home, even though they're both
Hmm.
kind of stunt event things.
Hmm. No, for sure. I just mean like I feel like Endgame by its nature like makes it maybe a little bit easier to go back to than No Way Home. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. 45 is Captain America: The First Avenger. That's very respectable.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a strong spot for it.
I also wonder if our audience puts that higher than a lot of other people would, because we've got
I
some
would think
viewers that
so.
are very vocal about how great that movie is. And if I saw that high anywhere else, I would be more surprised than I am right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think so as well.
Winter Soldier will be in the top 20, if not the top 10, I
I
think.
actually don't remember where it is, to be honest.
Interesting. Oh, this makes me happy.
This
44,
makes you smile.
44 is The Mask. That's a nice placement. I mean, obviously, I had it a lot higher because I just
Mm,
love that movie, but I'm glad it's in the top 50.
mm. That's again, that's a respectable space for it to be.
43 is V for Vendetta. I actually might have expected that a little higher.
Oh, interesting. I would have said the opposite because
It's
I do feel like it's kind of forgotten to a degree.
Yeah, but it comes up a lot on the channel. I I
That's true
I get
too.
messages from people saying, "Why haven't you ever talked about that? Like, are you gonna finally do it on the commentary project pretty soon?" I've never done any material on it, and I didn't actually sit down and watch it for the first time until like 2 or 3 years ago. And
When we
yes,
almost pulled
It's as good as everybody says it is.
we almost pulled the trigger on it not that long ago, but we wanted to do it like the Dark Knight Returns thing, and then it was just I don't think we had the time to
I
knock out the book.
forgot all about that.
Hmm.
There is a crazy storm happening right outside your house.
Yeah, there is. It's been storming all day here, man. It's been like snowing really hard and like thunder lightning, which I've never seen together. It's really weird,
Wow.
or at least very rare. But
Like Austin's got
it
production value happening
no,
right
and
there.
um, like it stormed really bad here on Saturday as well. Like my mom's been without power until today, and then this
Oh,
storm
jeez.
started today. So she was like, "I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose power again."
That
So,
sucks. I hope she has enough candles.
well,
40.
they got a generator too, so it's not like the worst
Oh,
thing.
that's
But
nice. That's nice.
yeah.
Is she at the cabin or is she in her?
At our house, but they have a like sub pump, so if they don't have a generator, their basement will flood. So they have to kind of
Oh,
have that.
yeah. We actually have one of those too.
Oh,
42 is Deadpool,
there he
which
is.
got nearly 500 points. So that is how far away from Deadpool
I
and
think that was
Wolverine.
quite a bit.
Good lord. Yeah,
Yeah.
8. It's 8 spots away. Yeah, that's a little surprising to me, honestly.
Hmm.
I agree with it. I'm surprised that
Yeah,
people agree
that's
with
a good
me,
spot.
is what I'm saying. I'm sorry, what, Austin?
No, so I think that's a good spot for it.
It is a good spot for it. I Unbreakable at 41 is redeeming the glass thing a little bit. I'm glad it's as high as it is, where it's like, yeah, we put
Hmm.
glass on there, but I mean, it ain't unbreakable. No, it's not. You know what? I've never said a more true statement. Glass is
Yeah,
not unbreakable.
that
That is
should be on
true.
the on the poster on the box.
That is true, man. I'm also really glad that people aren't that split between glass and
Mhm.
unbreakable. That's good. It's good. I'm glad. Number 40 is Mask of Zorro, which of course we had way higher than that. And that's
Yeah,
probably
quite a
one of
bit
those
lower than where we had it,
that's
but
probably one of those if you've seen it and you love it, it's probably real high on your list. But how
mhm.
many people
Yeah,
turned
exactly.
in the list that have just never bothered with that movie? That could be half, that could be a third.
Mhm. No, I feel like that's a movie that if it made your list, it was probably pretty high.
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty respectable. It deserves to be higher, but I really think that's a some people didn't see it.
Mhm.
Kind
Yeah,
of
I can see that.
39 is Age of Ultron, which I'm sure has Austin throwing up in his mouth a bit.
It got three number one picks too.
That's really surprising.
That's the big reason it's this high. That's 100. That's 150 points just off that.
So I have a skewed perspective on Age of Ultron now because I've worked with you for 5 years now, like Bible thumping at me about how horrible that movie is, and so in my mind, people don't like it as much as I thought they did. But those people might
Mhm.
just be Austin. I don't know. Um, like
Yeah, because you've had quite a few co-hosts in the past where it's like right at the top for
Yeah,
them.
that thought it was kind of brilliant, and I've always been a
Hmm.
little bit more in the middle with it, where I think the ideas are great, but some of the execution is off, and it's just a real bloated kind of thing. It needs to simmer longer. We've talked about this before, but anyway,
Yeah. No, I'm shocked it's this high, but I did expect it to make the list. So,
oh, definitely, yeah. Well, and Robert made a great point during the break where he was like, "Is it surprising to anybody else that all four Avengers movies have to be in the top 50?"
if all four of them are,
Yeah, I mean they have to be at this point. There's no chance. I mean, because that was the one that if any of them could maybe not make the list, that was the only one, and
it
that
would be
was never and
Ultron.
that wasn't going to happen anyway. So yeah,
Mhm.
it is surprising how high that is. 38 is Dread. Wow,
Mhm.
wow, that's neat that's that high.
It is really cool. That's also a cool poster.
It
Like
is.
there's a few where I'm like, the minimalism. I'm not like a big fan of it, but I think it looks really cool with that one.
What I like about this poster is that it could just as easily be an action figure. Like you don't know if there's a
Yeah.
person in that suit.
That's cool. And we have
um,
both dreads declaring that they are the law at each.
that's great. I gotta watch that again. The only reason it wasn't a little higher on my list is because I haven't seen it since the theater.
Yeah, I showed my youngest brother that last time I went to my mom's cottage, and he was like mesmerized with it.
Oh
I was
wow.
like, "This, it's a really good movie."
I need to show it to Jason. I think he'd love it. Or I say the theater. Maybe I saw it once after that. I don't remember though. I may have never seen that since the movie theater.
Did you not do an old rewind on it?
No, I've never written about
Oh,
that.
okay. Oh,
I
okay. For some reason, I thought you had.
never done anything since the how we felt about. And that was before we. I think that was maybe even before we called it that.
You know what I'm thinking of? I was thinking it was in that Christmas one, but I just realized it's the RoboCop remake is what I'm thinking of. Because I had like the image in my head of like, rewind and like somebody holding up a gun like that. But no, I'm thinking of the RoboCop remake.
I would have been a nicer person to myself if I had reviewed that instead of the RoboCop remake. But I let requesters pick all those, so
Mm-hmm. Damn requesters.
we should do that again for the commentary project. Do a batch of like 8 over a couple of months and let the
Well,
requesters pick them all.
especially if we do that thing we talked about a few months ago for October, it would be cool to then do that with Rewind for December.
Oh my god, remind me what we were talking about. I can't remember right now.
We were talking about you pitched me an idea to do like almost like a mini mania for horror films of 12 movies across October.
I forgot about that. If we could work it in, that'd be awesome. I forgot all about that.
You're like, let's pause everything, do that through October. So if we did that, it would be cool to then knock out more rewinds
Well, we're
over
just planning on
Christmas.
camera right now, but we're gonna have to plan out Batmay too. We haven't even talked about that
Oh, yeah.
if we're doing it
No
this year.
kidding. No kidding.
37. Speaking of Batmay, is Batman Returns. So somebody earlier was excited about how hard Batman Returns would probably sweep. Does this count as a sweep? Is this high? I think that's pretty high.
I think that's pretty good for Batman Returns because there are a lot of people that like really vocally hate Batman Returns, but then there's also a lot of people that really like it. So I don't know if I would say it's controversial as much as I feel like there's a vocal minority that really hate.
I'm gonna do a yeah, and I used to be more in that minority, and I have enjoyed it more as we've talked about it more recently.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna do an 89 thing. Are you ready?
Uh oh. Uh oh.
Love that poster.
That is a cool poster.
It's a really good poster. I think I've seen that before.
Did you see, Cap? They announced new toys for Returns, and they
There's
have
a Max
a
Shrek
bunch
figure.
of. There is a Max Shrek figure, but there's a bunch of Penguin figures.
I know. I kind of want them with the rockets on their backs.
Yeah, exactly. And they have the like small ones and the really big ones. I love it.
I just wish they made a figure for the countdown lady.
Oh, that would be great. That should be a talking doll where like you pull it and she says a number.
And she's like T minus. All right, 36 is the crow. Yeah, that's a good placement for the crow.
Yeah, I think that's solid. I maybe expected it to be like a little higher, but only a little bit.
Yeah, me too, but
I think that is a good placement.
almost top 35. I'll take that.
Yeah, for sure.
35 is Wonder Woman, which has Austin spinning in his grave. He's not even dead.
I tried to find as many gifs of really bad Gal Gadot line deliveries, but then I couldn't get all the ones I wanted, so I was mad.
You had to make up for how angry you are by just like littering this with why you think it's bad.
I mean, only two of them are for this movie, and it's not like I feel strongly about that second one. Actually, no, only one of them is. And it's the least bad line
No,
delivery.
Okay, but I'm going to stand by what I said. You're littering it with why you think it's bad, which is that actress and that line delivery. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I did see somebody made one of the greatest clips I've ever seen, where they strung like a few of her really bad line deliveries together into a sentence, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Where she's like, Kal-El, I need enough wine, champagne to fill the Nile. It's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, whoever made that, you are my Jesus.
So you and I have been around and around, of course, about that movie. We'll eventually do a commentary together. I haven't watched it in a while. I'm scared.
Also, because Robert just said it too, that poster is great.
I was just gonna say I don't know how I feel about that placement here at the moment. Like I had it on my top 10 of the decade, so that placement should make sense to me. But yeah, that poster is kick ass.
It's a great poster. No, I'm not annoyed with this placement. It's kind of like Ragnarok, where it's like I know it's gonna be like really high, so it doesn't surprise me.
Well, I'm annoyed with Ragnarok because I think that movie's bad, and you don't like this movie, so I would understand if it also annoyed you. But
no, I figured it would make it.
So 34 is Kick-Ass. I don't know why there's a comic poster that says the movie under. Okay, that's very strange.
That does appear in the movie, so I was like, "Oh, that's kind of fun. I'll throw that in there."
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure that means you're really happy.
Yeah, I love Kick-Ass. I actually just rewatched it the other day. It's been a while since I've seen it, and it's still great.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't love it as much as you do, but it's just a sensibility thing. I think that placement's totally fair.
Yeah, for sure. No, and like I said when we did our list, like I do think slowly kind of being forgotten.
It is, which is sad. I'm glad Kick-Ass 2 isn't anywhere on this list, though. I would have just shut
It
down
could
this.
show up still.
No, it can't. I would have just shut down the stream. 35 is Batman Forever. Somebody put it at number 1. That's great, man. So, some of us that grew up with that movie, we can't get away from it. I still watch it a weird amount. I can't even explain to you why, but that probably goes on 3 or 4 times a year, just in the background when I'm doing stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And of course, obviously, rest in peace, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, yeah. Glad it's that high. I'm also thinking we should maybe fast track that or do it sometime this year.
I figured that. Yeah, I figured you'd say that.
Kilmer's passing.
That's fine by me.
I mean, especially given what we did with Superman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully nobody.
No, and because I'm gonna have a lot of negative things to say, but I also think Val Kilmer's really good in it. So like, I don't feel awkward about doing it.
Oh sure.
And for that reason.
Well, you're not gonna hurt my feelings because nearly everything you say, I'm sure I will agree with and won't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. 32 is Watchmen. That could have gone in the top 20 pretty easily. Like it's hard. It would have been hard to say where that would fall at this point.
Yeah, I could have seen it being a lot lower, but being at 32 also kind of doesn't shock me. Like it could have
gone anywhere.
I feel like this is probably the highest it could have gotten, and anything lower I could have seen.
Really, because with our audience, I feel like there are a few people that could have put it real high and gotten it up into the 20s, but
yeah, I mean that's possible too.
And that's another thing where we've got people in the audience that still really love it, and people that have kind of turned on it, and people that never were, happy with that in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's
it's the definition of a polarizing kind of movie.
It's always been like a very polarizing movie. So like, I think that's why I could see it here and anywhere below it.
We were originally going to review that right at the start of the year, and we still haven't gotten to it. But we've got to carve some time out because we want to. That's another one that we want to do the book the same week, and that's going to be a behemoth.
Yeah, that and V for Vendetta are going to be hard, but they're going to be worth it.
Here comes Under the Red Hood. Beats out Watchmen by just one place.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So, like I said earlier, that was going to be one of those few animated movies that was going to wind up real high. I do wonder if there are any others besides Phantasm that could crack the top 25.
I could have seen Under the Red Hood and Dark Knight Returns switching places, but at the same time, I do feel like Under the Red Hood, movie-wise, I'm not shocked, was the one that beat it out.
It's also had longer to kind of percolate and
to kind of simmer.
30. Yeah. Any other kitchen metaphors you want to throw in there? Number 30 is a tie for 1990 Ninja Turtles and Across the Spider-Verse, which is just very, very random. That those two are next to each other.
Very weird double feature.
I thought 1990 Ninja Turtles was going to be higher than this.
Oh, sure.
I really did. And I might have thought Across the Spider-Verse would be a little bit higher than this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could have seen either of them break in the top 20.
The only thing I can think of that they have in common is they're both sort of kids' movies, but not really.
Mm-hmm. that is something.
I guess there's that.
They have animal-themed characters.
yeah. It's about it. There's a team of characters wearing essentially the same thing. 29 is Superman 2. He's got a cellophane S in there. That was the reason Austin was okay doing the slideshow, even though there were irritating things about it. He's like, at least I get to get in my cellophane ass.
Yeah, I hit 30 and I was like, I gotta renumber everything before this.
Oh no. But yeah, that's a respectable place for that. Obviously, I had it a lot higher because Terrence Stamp is just the best thing ever.
Yeah, and I
But
could have seen it being a bit lower. Like, it is impressive that it got this high.
well, and I'd love to know what the breakdown is of people that said Donner Cut.
I know the person who said number one at least said Donner Cut. But
Specifically
after
Donner
that,
Cut.
I think it was kind of maybe not 50-50. I think more people just said Superman 2. But there were definitely people that said the Donner Cut.
Robert says he also thought 1990 Ninja Turtles would be higher, but he's glad it cracked the top 30. Yeah, that's good.
28, I was really surprised was not higher.
Yeah, 28 is Black Panther, and that's shocking to me. I figured that would be in the top 20.
Yeah, I thought it could have made the top 10. But
So now I'm sitting here going, what has to be in our top 20? And is it going to be just like bouncing back and forth between Batman and Spider-Man movie and X-Men, I guess? Also,
yeah, I guess we're missing some of those big ones.
our audience loves X-Men because the old scripted rewinds, the X-Men movies always did better. Like I had a couple X-Men reviews that cracked 100,000 views, and very little else got close to that. So it would make sense that our audience, I mean, we're only talking about 70 people, but that our audience would throw X-Men a lot higher than some other stuff, like the best of them. So like our First Class won't be in the top 10 with our audience, I don't think. We'll see. X2 could.
Which one, sorry?
First Class. I don't think First Class
okay.
makes top 10. I think it makes top 20. I think with our audience,
we're almost close to the top 20, so that makes sense.
Absolutely does. We'll find out. 27 is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, well, considering
that poster is cool too. I've never seen that.
That is a really nice poster. Considering that people were like yelling at us for putting Homecoming high, I do feel happy that it made it pretty high.
Yeah, me too. Again, maybe that's the vocal minority. But it also, wow, that's nuts.
It's like I just looked down at my camera on here. I was like, oh, it's really flashing.
You have to rush this before you lose your power, I think.
No kidding. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
But that does explain why it isn't higher than that, because you and I both had Homecoming pretty high on our lists.
That is true.
And so you do have those folks in our audience that complain about the Iron Boy thing and all of that. That even if they put it on their list, it wouldn't be all that high. But nobody put it at number one. So 769 points. That means a bunch of people had it like pretty high or mid tier.
Those are the ones that I find are most impressive because, like I said with Rises, like that is 150 just off 3 people. With stuff like this, it has no number one, so that means that it just made it high enough in the overall votes, to like get this high. And I think that's really impressive.
And at 70 people, that means a good majority of them had to have listed it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty interesting. Matthew Bass says those are some cool posters. Yeah, I'm enjoying the education I'm getting for obscure posters, and a lot of them that I'm really liking are better than the normal poster. Okay, we might have lost Austin because there's a lightning flash behind him and he's frozen. He might have lost power. Hope his computer didn't get fried. That'd be bad. All right, everybody give me a minute here. And if he's not able to come back, we'll just table this and do the rest of it in a shorter stream. But I'm gonna give him a minute or two here. Let me message him. Oh, yep, his power went out. Wow. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and close up the stream then, because I don't want to do the rest of this without him. We'll just mark our place and come back and try to do this soon. So we'll do the last 26, and the way Austin and I are moseying through this, that'll probably be an hour stream anyway. So I guess I will close out. I wasn't prematurely, but I mean we've streamed a good 2 hours and 20 minutes. So we had a good fun long stream tonight. Thanks again, everybody, for being here, and thanks for showing up earlier to the Captain Logan show. If you did that, I'm gonna go ahead and get going. But I guess we'll leave you in suspense and leave me in suspense to find out what the last 26 are. We've got a short rewind Friday night, so we could maybe tack it onto that. Otherwise, it'll be sometime next week. But anyway, we appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and see you again real soon with more geeky stuff here on Geekvolution. Bye, everybody.
Oh, hello?
Okay, never mind, everybody. I
Oh, my
closed.
lights are still off. I can turn those on quick.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I kind of enjoyed the mood lighting, where it's like you could pretend like your power was out, even though that's nonsensical because you're broadcasting.
Everybody?
Sorry, you cut out for a
It's-
second, and I
With
can't.
that, everyone? Am I...
Are you there? You're cutting in and out.
Oh, jump in here. I'll try exiting the call for...
Okay. He'll be right back. So I ended the call, or I sort of ended the show, and then I saw that his power was back, and I hadn't ended the stream yet. So it's like, well, if he wants to come back in and try to finish this real quick, we'll go ahead and do that. So it's probably a first in Geekvolution history, right? I say goodbye, everybody, and then I just leave it there.
There we go. Are we good?
So far, I think so.
Perfect.
Let me screen share again so you can see what I'm doing. That whole thing was really funny, Austin, because I just straight up ended the show.
Yeah. No, I saw the chat. Everyone was like, no, wait, he's back.
And I didn't know what they were talking about because I wasn't looking that hard at the chat, and I didn't see that you said your power was back. So they were like, he's back, and I'm like, no, he's not. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I ended up only turning off for like a minute.
Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again. If it does, we'll probably just close out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I was more so just like, I hope my Wi-Fi kicks in time. Like we're not waiting for a while because that's the biggest thing is it takes like a minute for that to kick back.
Oh, can you see the screen share?
Yep.
I didn't realize it was still going. Okay, let's go ahead and try to finish this then, guys. I'm starting to fade a little bit, but I think I can get through it. So, 27 was Spider-Man: Homecoming. 26 is Endgame with two number one picks.
Yep. People still really like Endgame, I guess.
I think like that placement is not that surprising to me, but two people putting it all the way at the top is actually a little surprising.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to get any number ones, let alone two.
Most people I talk to prefer Infinity War, even if they like Endgame quite a bit.
Hmm. I mean, we haven't seen Infinity War yet, so.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But how many? Yeah, but the question is, how many number one picks does it get? Like, I'm just saying, two people putting it not just above Infinity War, but number one. That's what's surprising about it to me.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
25 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Somebody put it at number one. I totally appreciate that. And I like that placement a lot because I love that movie and it's my favorite of them. But that means that both of the other two are in the top 24 or one of them somehow didn't make the list, which I don't buy. I would be surprised if somehow Guardians 3 just wasn't liked enough to make the list.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I've never
It gave me a chance to rep those cool Star Wars homage posters.
I was going to say I've never seen that.
Yeah, they did one for all three. They're really cool.
Oh, really? That's neat.
Hmm. That was one of the things when three was coming out. I was like, I hope they don't drop that. Like, I really liked those for the first two.
I feel like that should annoy me because it's A, an obvious comparison, and B, Disney owns both, but they're classy looking. I don't know. Or at least that one is. I haven't seen the other one.
Hmm. No, I mean, they're just cool looking.
24 is Avengers. That's. Your gifts are distracting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that's also a gift from Endgame. Not from the movie, but it looks like behind the scenes of Endgame.
Oh, that's funny. I don't know. Am I surprised that that's that high? I guess I'm not surprised that it's over Ultron.
No, I could have seen it being a little higher. Like, maybe not crack the top 10, but maybe like around like 15.
Yeah.
But also, maybe because the issue I know we talked about this, but the issue with the Avengers movies is less so with the first one, but they are very much made for when they came out and not, really to rewatch.
Rumsky seems surprised that Avengers got a placement over Guardians. I guess that's maybe a little bit surprising. I mean,
I think, hold on, go back to Guardians. They might be like real close. Like they might be only like a point off. Oh, okay, no, they're
893
only
and 905.
905. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty close.
Pretty close. I mean, I definitely like Guardians over Avengers, but I mean, I can also appreciate putting Avengers over that movie too.
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate how big of a deal it was.
Hmm. Exactly.
At the time. That's another one of those movies where I wonder how often people go back to it.
Hmm.
Like, is that a big is that a big rewatch movie for people? And how much have the last two really eclipsed it?
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's one I've gone back to a lot. Is the first Avengers. That's what my mom really likes. So whenever she's like, "Let's watch a Marvel movie," the Avengers is one of the big ones she wants to watch.
It's cool that it managed to go over Endgame. I like that.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's cool.
23 is the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so
That's a great placement. I'm really happy with that.
there was at one point a chunk where the four big gun films were literally one after another, and
Oh
then
wow!
over like the last like 4 votes, I think they got separated, but through most of this, they were all together in a chunk, and I thought that was super funny.
Yeah, I thought maybe it would be a little lower. That like some of our audience
Mhm.
just wouldn't be on the radar, or they just
Mhm.
wouldn't have cared enough. And I was
Yeah, and I
that
could
way
have
until I
seen
watched
it.
it the fourth time.
I could have seen it being his most voted on movie as well. Like I could see it going both ways.
But that's going to put the other two Guardians movies probably in the top 20 now. I guess we'll see. 22 is Into the Spider-Verse, and I'm in a place where I actually like the second one a little bit better.
I was shocked this did not get higher though. I was fully expecting it to be top 10.
Hmm. Because we have people in our audience, like a lot of fans, outside of us, that say it's one of, if not the best superhero movies ever made. Look, it didn't get a number one vote, which is kind of surprising.
Mm. Yeah, and this over across, I think, because with this one, I only hear like, amazing things, while across I hear more people say that it's still really good, but not as good as the first one. And I've also heard a number of people complain that they think that it just kind of stops. Where like as a part one, it doesn't do enough to kind of hold its own. But I mean, I don't think that's everybody. But I have heard that criticism come up.
People are complaining that I missed a slide somewhere, so I don't know if people saw the Suicide Squad slide. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I'm getting tired. I'm making mistakes.
whoops.
21 is Iron Man 3.
I
Wow.
know. I'm shocked that made it that high, but I mean, I'm
Wow.
happy. That's
Because,
cool.
man, when that came out, we had some pretty vocal people in the audience that thought that was awful and were like morally offended by the advertising campaign.
That was the movie that kicked off the thing I always say about 2013, which is every film was the worst film of all time. Like when it came out, I think Iron Man 3 was kind of what kicked that off. But
I don't even know
I'm
if I
happy.
agree that should be that high, but I'm happy with it because it is a really good movie, and I didn't know where that would be. That's crazy.
Mhm.
That
No, it's wild.
that book cover thing is awesome.
Oh, it's beautiful. When I saw that, I was like, oh, well, I have to use this. Like,
That's so
that's so
neat.
cool. It
It's
reminded me a lot of the end credits. Like it's obviously like in book form, but like that's so neat.
well, and it's so appropriate because there's so much James Bond in that movie, and
Yeah, absolutely.
they're just doing the kind of James Bond cover thing,
Hmm.
which I didn't appreciate for the longest time. But then my son started getting into the Fleming novels, and I've seen a lot more of the novel covers, and they look like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it makes me wish they'd done a novelization with that,
Oh, sure.
because that would have been cool. So we got one number one pick, and Wood Green Beanie just put in a $2 super chat and says he's the guy that did that.
Oh,
He's
well, there you go.
he's responsible. But I mean, that didn't jump at all to 21 all by itself. Look how many points it got. He only gave it 50. It had 936 points.
Your number one film. Oh, yeah. I guess your number one film here is Iron Man 3. Number two is The Rocketeer. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
I think it was
cool.
the same guy that said that. Yeah.
All right, now we get into the top 20. Going to be really interesting to see what cracks it and how many of them are just X-Men, Spider-Man, and Batman. But number 20 is not any of those things. It's RoboCop.
Which is criminally low, but that's fine.
You know what? It's low, but not criminally. And I'll tell you, not for this audience.
No,
I'll tell
no,
you
no.
why.
Of course, I'm playing it out.
It's
But
not criminally low. We gotta hurry up. There's lightning back there. He's gonna lose his power again. It's not criminally low for this audience because we have so many people that give me crap for calling it a superhero movie that I'm just glad people considered it.
there you go.
The
There you
only
go.
reason it's not higher is because of the 5 people that love that movie but go, no, Cap, it doesn't count, and refuse to list it. That's.
I really like that art for it too.
That
That's
poster's
neat.
crazy. I've never seen. Oh, that's a Alamo Drafthouse poster.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Hmm.
They probably don't have those in Canada. I would love to get you
Yeah.
to a draft house. Those are cool.
Yeah, I've heard of them, but
My
obviously.
favorite downtown in Kansas City got shut down around COVID. It was a tragedy, and it makes me
Oh
sad.
no.
We've got one more somewhere close, but 19 is Batman 89, uh, which is criminally low. That is a crime. Everybody knows Batman counts as a
It
superhero.
had 5 number 1 picks, so it was really held up by the people who
Wow.
love it. And what you're one of them.
That's wild. That's true. I did put it at number one. Everybody knows that already. 1,024 points, though. That is nothing to sneeze at. And it's got a lot more competition than it used to. So, I mean, if this is 15
Hmm.
years ago, it's higher than that.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. The wood grain beanie is booing you.
Booing me or booing
Well, just 89 being.
89 being low? Yeah. Not booing me. I'm booing along with him. Number 18. Well, I don't know. 1,024 points explains why I still have any audience at all for 89 for 89.
That's true too. Also, this the gift choice is 100% self-indulgent.
That's all
And then I
right.
saw this, I saw the Snow White trailer. I was like, why is she moving like she's Michael Keaton Batman? She can't move her neck.
I'm pretty sure she can move her neck in that. I don't know.
No, it's
Number
100% just an acting choice.
number 18 is Guardians Volume 3. I did not expect that to be that high.
Yeah, that's really high.
And
Oh, wood grain beanie's booing it being low. Okay, never mind.
and I think it deserves to be high. I still like the first movie over the other two, but that's whatever. And that means 2 is going to be over this, which I'm also not. My order is totally different from this order.
I felt very vindicated. I was like, oh, they
Yeah.
have my order on the Guardians movies. That's cool.
Why are you guys just doing whatever Austin says? I don't even understand that.
Stop booing me, Cap. I'm right.
I guess.
They're off by 1 point.
No, that's nuts. They're right next to each. Yeah, these Star Wars posters are freaking cool.
Right?
They're
They're
off
really
by
cool.
1
They're
point.
off by 1 point.
That's bizarre. Yeah, I think I
And
like.
because it's Guardians 2, this is also my favorite of the Star Wars posters.
Well, I was gonna say I think I like the Empire poster the most just because I love Empire. But
No, and the ego in the background, that's so cool.
does it represent freedom?
It does represent freedom.
Number 16 is Infinity War, which
Yep.
is quite a bit a ways from Endgame.
Yeah, it is quite a bit.
And I don't disagree with that placement. I mean, I think that's the best of the Avengers movies, but I still like Civil War more than it. And
Mhm.
Civil War is going to be over this, so that makes me happy. Is that going to crack the top 10? It ought to. It ought
I
to.
actually don't remember.
I guess we're going to find out. But yeah.
There's one thing I know about Civil War's placement, but we'll get there when we get there.
Oh, man. Number 15 is Superman the movie.
The 4 number 1 picks.
Wow. And still didn't crack the top 10. But, I mean, I can't
No.
complain because I didn't put it there either. I
But
forgot
it
all
got
about
one
that.
less than Batman and still made it higher than Batman. I do think that is impressive.
Yeah, it is. That's a bad outfit.
That's one bad outfit.
That line delivery is wonderful.
That's beautiful.
Well, it didn't make the top 10 like it did mine, but I'm glad Phantasm got that close.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
no, exactly.
This
2 number 1s.
this cover
Pretty
I am
solid.
familiar with. That is actually, if memory serves, the also used because that's the novelization, or not the novel, the comic
The
novelization.
comic, yeah, because I actually had that when I saw that. I was like, oh, I remember having this.
Yeah, but I was
I'm
gonna
gonna
say
use
I
this.
think that image might also be used for the junior novelization,
Oh,
the
okay.
prose junior novelization.
Yeah.
which is what I thought it was for a second until I saw the DC logo in the corner, and then I was like, I think they used it for that too. That's not interesting to anybody. I'm just throwing out tidbits of things that I might sort of know. Anyway, let's see what 13 is. 13 is X2. I didn't quite get to the top 10, but it's good to know that a lot of our audience loves that as much as I do.
I was gonna say, does that break your heart at least a little bit? At least a little?
It means Days of Future Past is higher than it, and I can't do that anymore. But that's the thing that vindicates me for it, where I have such a personal connection to that movie that if that's in the top 10, I can't complain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, watch it be 11 though. Watch it be 11 or 12. Number 12 is Civil War. Yay, that's nice. That's nice. I got that.
Yeah, there it is.
Makes me happy. I can't tell you how much I've been in the mood to go back to that lately.
I'm really excited. I think you announced that, or no?
It's coming.
No.
It's coming soon.
Yeah,
folks.
it's coming. It's coming.
I have not announced that yet, but that is coming.
Yeah, I hesitated. That's what happens when it's late and you're like,
No, that's all right. We're throwing a bone to the folks that are crazy enough to stay with us for 3.5 hours or whatever this is going to be into 12:30 on a Wednesday night when Austin's going to get struck by lightning. Like, it's really nice for everybody.
Exactly.
So you might as well.
I hope that's how the stream ends. Like it bursts through the window and hits me in the head.
Production
That'd
value.
be awesome.
You might as well give them something.
Exactly.
Nobody posted anywhere though, because we're going to officially announce it tomorrow. So if you've made it this far, like pre-recorded or live, that's your gift, along with all these gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Number 11 is Winter Soldier,
which was the big thing I remembered. They were back to back.
That's crazy. I really like that Winter Soldier is above it, but only by a little bit, because I mean they're very close.
No, I think that's completely fair. I am surprised that they didn't break the top 10, but I mean only just.
I am happy they're this close, but it does make me wonder what exactly is in the top 10. I mean that means Begins has to be there, Days of Future Past has to be there. How many points was it between? Wow. Winter Soldier actually had significantly more points than Civil War did, and 2 number 1 picks. No number 1 picks for Civil War.
No love for Civil War.
That's wild. Yeah, just a lot of lukewarm love, but everybody had lukewarm love, and so it's pretty high. Okay, I'm trying to think for a second. I can't engender your help because you did this.
Well, no. The next slide is just a place your bets for your top 10, so you can go to the next slide if that's what you want.
No, that's not what I was going to say. I'm just saying
okay.
I'm sitting here trying to predict the top 10, and I can't ask for your help in coming up with the titles because you might know what some of them are. So it's got to be okay. So Begins and Dark Knight are in there. Days of Future Past.
Well, that's what I mean. The next slide is about exactly this topic.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We can't move to the next slide if you want.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
No, it's okay.
What a a-hole. First Class has to be in there. So that is 4 of the 10.
What did you say? Begins, Dark Knight,
Dark Knight, Days of Future Past, and First Class. Logan has to be in there. That's 5 of the 10. That there's no way those aren't in there. I'm trying to think of other MCU things that haven't shown up yet. Iron Man 1, that's 6. We've got the Captain Americas. I mean, Dark World's not going to be in there. Let me think a minute, because I got 6 of the 10. It's not going to be any of the Turtles movies. Let's see what people are saying in the comments here. I haven't even been thinking about Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 1 and 2 both have to be in there. That's 8 of the 10. Robert might have gotten most of them. Yeah, Spider-Man. Oh, The Batman. That's 9. There's one I'm missing.
Even I'm like, what
the hell am I missing?
10th one? What are we missing?
I'm missing one, right?
Dark World. Has to be.
Has to be. Did I say Spider-Man 1? Did I not say Spider-Man 1?
You did say both, yeah.
Well, Robert's throwing it out. Oh, because he was putting it in his list. I see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, and Robert, you've got 9 also. Oh wait, no. Yeah, but he said the Batman. So we still only have 9. What are
No
we
one can guess
missing
what
here?
this mystical 10 is. Even I'm blank, and I'm like,
It's gonna be
what is
Danger
it?
Diabolic.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I mean, it should be, but it won't. All right, here we go, folks. Number 10,
Band-Aids
Days of
off.
Future Past, which had one number 1 pick. I'll be interested to see if the top 5 have like a bunch of number 1 picks. Robert, $2 super chat. He thinks Return of the Joker. That could go either way. I could like people love that movie. I could also see it not being on people's radar and just not cracking the list at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be Catwoman with Green Beanie.
It could be.
Number 9 is First Class.
Perfection. I was so happy that First Class won.
And right next to each other like that too.
And from the get-go, like there was never a point where First Class was not the highest. It's just Days of Future Past closed the gap over time, but First Class was always the highest one.
Kira says Return of the Joker better not beat Phantasm. And like, I love Return of the Joker. Even I will be kind of pissed off if that happens.
Mm. I mean, that's just true.
Number 8 is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Only one person picked it. So that means Spider-Man 2 will be over that, which is predictable. You kind of expect that.
Yeah, exactly.
That
and of course,
very strange gif I'm looking at. I don't know what the hell's happening here.
it's smashing. No, but it is impressive too that First Class also has no number 1 picks, and it's between Spider-Man and Days of Future Past that both do.
I missed that. I'm glad you brought that up. That is really interesting.
Yeah, I like just. Oh,
I'm an idiot. I didn't think.
No,
of it.
of course.
I didn't think of it. There it is. And Robert didn't either.
Yeah.
The Incredibles in one number 1 pick. Yeah, I should have been looking for that the whole time. And like we had Megamind earlier. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. No, even that blanked my brain. Like, no, of course.
Wow. And yeah, that placement's just kind of right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I had it in
That's about what I figure.
Did I have it in my top 10 or it was close?
I think you did.
It wasn't quite there. I can't remember. Number
I don't
6.
remember.
So now it's just about placement. We know what the rest of them are. Number 6 is Iron Man 1. 2 number 1 picks. I'm happy that got that high. It is creeping up higher and higher on my list all the time, Austin.
Yeah, I think it made around that on mine, and it was because I rewatched it and I was like, oh man, I missed this.
By the way, I haven't even talked to you about this in a while, Austin, but I very seriously, in the not too distant future, want to do this with a ranking of both DCEU and MCU as it stands right now. Because I haven't done that in forever with MCU, and I've never done it with DCEU.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to catch up, but I'd be down to do that. For MCU, would we include the shows?
Just movies.
Okay.
There's enough of them, and I've not seen every show, and doing shows is not fair because some of the ones I've seen I've only done blend commentaries over, and so I basically have not seen them. I don't.
And they're going to be the bottom 10 anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I get why people were ranking those early on when we thought the quality was going to be on par. It overall just hasn't been.
Mm-hmm.
And I see them as almost as separate entities, with exceptions. Not very many exceptions. But I see them as almost as separate entities as when the TV side and the movie side were run totally separately by different during the Perlmutter era. Quality wise, at least. Like, I get that they talk to each other more. I'm not talking about that. But I just feel weird ranking TV shows along with movies when they're not to movie caliber.
For DCU, we should aim to do it like right before Superman comes out. I feel like that'd be a fitting place.
Yep.
MCU, let's do it after FF comes out.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm absolutely with you. All right. Milking the lists, folks. Number 5 is The Batman. You should feel ultra vindicated here And let me tell
Yeah,
you
I
why.
was almost more because it was almost 3, and it like just over time like slowly got knocked down to 5. But I do feel very vindicated
But what's
at the same
really
time.
neat about, by the way, I've never seen that poster. That's killer.
The Batman has so many good posters, and the one they picked for the like DVD and Blu-ray is like the most generic one.
Which is sad,
But
and I don't know why they do that. Um,
mhm.
Sometimes I feel
The
like they do
4K
that.
one looks so cool though.
Sometimes I think they do that to make the steelbooks look cooler.
Have you seen the 4K one? They do like the old Spider-Man thing where they have the question mark in his eye.
No, I
It's so
haven't.
cool.
I don't
Yeah,
think.
it's really good.
But we definitely have some folks on the channel that don't understand our love for that movie. And again, nothing against anybody. I get why that's not everybody's cup of tea for Batman. But 4 number 1 picks kind of shocks me.
Mhm. No, and I think if you're just talking about visuals, like this is number one, like easily. Uh, it's so good.
Number 4 in my mind is still the best superhero movie ever made, but I can't call it my favorite because of 89.
And it was lower than the Batman for the longest time. I put that GIF in just to make fun of myself. The Batman slowly getting knocked under it.
6 number 1 picks, and I wasn't even one of them. That's wild.
hmm
I
Yeah, no,
I
exactly.
feel like a blasphemer not putting Batman Begins at the very top.
The Batman.
Number 3 is Spider-Man 2. With only 2 number 1 picks, it eclipsed a movie that had 6.
Isn't that crazy?
Shocking. That's
Positively
that's
shocking.
really interesting. Hot Soup says he has that 4K
Yeah, that's really nice.
of the
I
Batman.
think they also just put out the Penguin too on home media like a month ago.
Oh man, I'll have to get my hands on that eventually.
hmm
I'm
Yeah, I'm not in
curious.
a rush, but I probably will try to pick that
I'm
up.
curious to see what the packaging looks like, and if it has a steelbook, I'm gonna want that.
hmm
And then I'll look at the price tag, and then I'll say, okay, never mind.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Number 2 is Logan.
And Logan was number one for a while. They were kind of fighting back and forth.
And again, it's that high with only 2 number 1 picks.
hmm
It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, just one of those things that made everyone's list
You
for the most part.
you and I are both going back and forth between Vindication and Boo, right?
it, no, I expected this. I don't know.
Where it's like, well, no, but I'm just saying, like, just with our own personal preferences, where like, there's not a universe where you would put Logan that high, but like the Batman got pretty darn high.
Mhm. Guardians 2 beat out the other gun movies in general. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I could not have
Howard the Duck made the list.
at
Howard the
all.
Duck and Dr. Mordred made the list. I can die happy, Cap.
I could not have predicted Guardians 2 being that high.
I'm so happy.
Could not have predicted that.
And it was always the highest one too. It
I
was
wonder
nice.
what could be number 1.
What could it
Hmm.
be? Oh my god!
What?
No way! What?
Wow.
Guys,
That's the best not at all fan produced Avengers Doomsday poster.
and that many points, that many number one picks? God.
That's not possible. I think it must have been robots. So Dark Knight got 2079 points. It got to a year, probably just a couple past my death date.
Beautiful.
Maybe I'll make it that long. 12 number 1 picks.
Yeah, it's a
12.
lot of number one.
That's a lot. I mean, that's double the next highest set of number 1 picks,
Mm. Yeah, it's
which
a lot.
was what? Logan?
Begins
Begins
with
got
6.
6th, wasn't it? Yeah, because
Yeah.
Logan only got 2. It's more impressive when they get that high and they've
Yeah,
only
the
got a
number
couple of.
it was Dark Knight with 12, Begins with 6, 89 5, Superman, with 4. Those were the highest voted number ones.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh my god, you got Zaslav pointing at me at the end. I can't even. Oh my god, nicely done. Look at that. Everybody loves
Thank
your
you, thank you.
slideshows, Austin. They're just the best.
I was gutting myself putting that one together.
What, just having a look at that?
No, just because with all of these, I ended it with "That's all, folks," and then it hit me. I was like, "Oh man, I should put in a Zaslav joke."
I forgot you did that. Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah. No, that's just something I've always done. Like in school when I had to do PowerPoints, I've always just ended with "That's all, folks" because I think it's funny.
I'm with
But
Roomski. It is a little surprised that Return of the Joker wasn't here at all. But it's
yeah, I
not.
didn't see it.
It's not surprising, and not even as a runner-up. It's not surprising
Mhm.
it didn't crack the top 20. I did not think
Unless
that
it's something that missed me, but I don't remember seeing it at all.
somehow we didn't. Well, okay, you know what though? That makes me wonder if you did get Jason's list.
Yeah, and I mean there is a chance it could have slipped through because I do have to manually input all of them, but I don't remember seeing it.
But like that makes me wonder if you got any of Jason's because I
Mhm.
know he had that real high on his.
That's true. It would be like near number one for him.
That's a big movie for him.
I said that might be a personal error, but maybe he didn't get a chance to slip it in.
Yeah. But he told me he submitted it. We're gonna have to go look for it
Mm.
because, and obviously this is done now. But I just want to know if it counted or not.
Hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
Robert
like I said, there is a chance that maybe it just slipped and I missed it.
Robert says there are a few massive Return of the Joker fans that just that must have just not voted. I think he's right about that. That comes up too much in our community.
Hmm.
So you gotta
Yeah,
vote,
absolutely.
folks. You gotta get your see. We got skewed numbers now.
Every vote matters.
And Robert says it made his top 25.
Hmm. Which would make it 25, which is lower than all of the honorable mentions, but
Yeah, but hard to believe that 3 or 4 other people wouldn't have given it some points
mhm.
at least.
Yeah, I mean, I can check again. Like I said, it could just be user error on my part.
So, Woodgrain Beanie, I don't want you to think I'm making fun of you when I respond to your comment the way I'm about to, but he says a few of my top 10 didn't make the list at all. No Return of Swamp Thing, Shazam 2, or The Marvels. But, like, that's not Return of the Joker, right? Like,
No, and I specifically remember checking all 3 of those.
it's pretty
Because I was
crazy.
like, because I was laughing like, oh, I wonder if the Marvels will make it because of Cap, and then it didn't.
Jared says maybe people didn't include animated films on their list, but enough people must have.
Hmm. And I definitely saw a lot of that.
Because the few animated movies that were on the list were like high enough that it felt kind of accurate where they would have fallen. Like Mask of the Phantasm was in the top 20, wasn't it?
I
Wasn't
think
it like
so.
14? Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was 14.
yeah. But I did see most people didn't put animation.
Yeah.
And if they did, it was Phantasm.
There's also got to be even people in our community that just don't pay that close attention to animation.
Hmm. No, that's true too.
Dan's Dead, Superman versus the Elite made it, so clearly there was support. Yeah, precisely.
Hmm.
Austin, thanks again for putting this together, man.
Yeah, no worries. I can also double check on Batman Beyond. I actually have it open.
Oh, cool.
I can do a quick double check.
Yeah, I didn't mean to make a federal case about it. I'm more concerned just that because I'd forgotten about that. I'm like, wait a minute, Jason would have had that at like second, like 2 or 3. Robert, this is a conspiracy. We must solve the mystery. Good call, Wood Green Beanie, because I brought that up earlier and then I forgot about it. He said, no Incredible Hulk is weird for this audience. Yes, it is. I would have expected that in the bottom 10 at least. And for
Hmm.
Ang Lee's Hulk to get as high as it did, an Incredible Hulk did not even place.
Yeah,
Pretty
Incredible Hulk didn't place.
pretty
It looks
surprising.
like I did just miss Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. It would be number 95. So that's just my fault.
Oh, okay. So it did crack the list. It did crack the top one,
Mhm.
which means
Incredible Hulk did not, but
that would move everything.
mhm. Yeah,
Would that
exactly.
would
Sorry
that have
about that.
been? Oh, you're okay. Would that have been enough to knock off Split in The Losers?
Yes, probably.
Okay.
Well, there you go. Another honorable mention.
Okay, but just for the sake of my sanity, as much as I
Mhm.
hate that Return of the Joker did not, we didn't see it here, even though it should have been here. I don't
Mhm.
think I could have lived in a stream where Glass was on the list but Split was not. Like even
So now it makes it worse.
even there, yeah, it does make it worse. Split
Mhm.
would be at 101, while Glass is on the list. Now Glass would have been 99 at that point, but
Mhm.
still. Anyway,
Yeah, an Incredible Hulk would make like the bottoms of the honorable mentions, but
okay.
yeah. So
Robert, we can go home now. Yes, yes, you can. The stream is over. Good night, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here, guys.
yeah.
I'm now ending the show for the second time. We will be back again with more geeky stuff here on Geekvolution. I appreciate you guys. I was Captain Logan, and this was Austin, the Day Ghost.
Yeah.
More counting to come.
And this time I hope I don't mess it up.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.